I'm kind of glad. You might have noticed it's a little bit noisy in here. It's absolutely packed to the rafters, by the way. Gents, I'm glad we don't have to break down and analyse the opening ceremony, because I don't even know where we begin. Maybe with Ice dodging through rather than doing that. I don't know. What a great start.
I mean, it's amazing that an opening ceremony can make me kind of forget that we just played all those group stage games, because none of that matters. What matters is how you perform here, and I think that ceremony just, it gives you the shivers, man.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, some of the videos in the middle as well, Lacoste. So I saw, some old stuff. You were back there in the old days.
I was there, but there was no shot of me, sadly. They showed only the good players, but it still gives me chills. I could actually see my hair on the hand getting up. I mean, it's extremely good to be here in Shanghai, China, and this is what we want to see. This is the most beautiful time of the year.
Yeah, it is. Lyrica, what did you make of that first 20 minutes
Extremely
of the
good
day?
to be here.
It just blew my mind. It was unbelievable. And like every single moment of it too, you could just hear the crowd reacting. I've never seen it this big. It's on a Tuesday morning. And they're all out here. It's 9 in the morning. What the heck's happening?
I came in and I kind of just, we sat down and we kind of got ready. You just kind of look around and you go, holy crap, they're packed. How did they all get in here? I didn't even notice them. And then you opening ceremony started, that noise. You'll hear it come through our mics, I'm sure. It's absolutely incredible. Trent, I also I was measuring the cheering levels.
Yeah.
Because, suddenly I was like, oh, wow, they really like Team Liquid. They really like Virtus Pro. I don't know. It's just crazy.
It worked. The jerseys, right?
The jersey,
the panda?
Yeah.
No, they were
they were so smart. They were so smart.
I heard he tried something similar. It wasn't quite as loud, but there's a little bit of a cheer.
All right, well, we're going to get more from you guys because we've got plenty to talk about before we head into analysing, I guess. Let's loosely call it that. But of course, we want to introduce you to more of our broadcast team, two of which they're like the Abbott and Costello of Dota 2, or the No Tail and Fly. No, actually, Casey Slacks, rescue me.
Oh, well, you've come to the right place, my friend.
Hello. So good to be back, Casey.
We're so excited to be here. Some of our favorite things to do every TI is to talk with fans. And the fact that we're able to do that here in China is so exciting for me. And we've already been able to talk to a bunch of people. We can't wait to bring you their stories.
Absolutely. I've been all over the world for Dota, and there's always that group of people that are screaming, the Chinese fans, no matter what, wherever I go. And now it's the entire arena, man. It's fantastic. I can't wait to be here in person.
The arena is packed. You guys excited?
Yes.
Excited. Yeah. 我喜欢 Shanghai. Shanghai 很美.
Shanghai 很美.
We're really excited for some good Dota 2.
Oh, I cannot wait. It's the best year competitive that we've seen so far. We're going to bring the action, and we're going to talk to real people here on the ground, Casey.
Yes, we are. All right, let's send it back to the panel.
Thanks very much, Casey Slacks, as ever. A bunch of fun, enjoying themselves.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that they've got a unique challenge here, trying to make it work amongst the crowd, but already they got the lingo down. They're good to go.
Yeah, Casey is absolutely amazing.
I mean, they both are. The combination between these two is just
no, but her Chinese, I want to learn more. Like, that was amazing. I was like, wow, where did that come from?
I was expecting Slacks to speak some Chinese as well.
Were you?
Well, maybe later of the day.
Okay, we should get into things, because we've got plenty to talk about before we get to our first game of the day. Our first series of the day, of course, 2 from the upper bracket. But before we get there, why don't we check in with a fantastic, probably the best ever group stage at TI.
The battle for the Aegis of Champions began. Standout teams found their stride early, leveraging Titan teamwork to stay near the head of the pack.
Oh no. Oh, Nico. He doesn't have buyback and Marvel. The Ravage. It hits the back lines. KP's gone, and the double Laguna through the Grimstroke. You didn't even need to refresh it for that one.
Get ready. They're just going to end it. They can end it because of that. Look at this. The Ana IO. They're just going into there. They can't do anything. They're all just spraying.
But the buyback comes out immediately. Triple kill for Paparazzi. This man smells blood, wants to find the ET. He did so much damage to me earlier, but I'm going to get him to ultra kill and kill you off as well. Not Earthshaker anymore.
Oh, he's back.
He's back again, and Earthshaker, the switch back forward, finds the rampage.
Each group was stacked with the world's finest Dota talent, and nothing in this world comes without a fight.
Gabby's in trouble. Gabby's shot down. It's Nisha with the triple kill, and he may not be done yet. The multicast come out, but it was Lotus. Nisha's ready to turn. He looks to Cuckoo. That's going to be an ultra kill. He's not done yet. Stepping forward. He's just shooting them all. Nisha, he's got a goddamn gun, and Zai
Zai
will steal
takes
the
it.
rampage. Zai, come on, Zai. They'll kill Miracle. Miracle holding on to the buyback for now. Now her buyback GH with a freezing field in the midst of it all. The being
Hey,
involved. They
gotta
get
go.
Miracle. The two-man vortex. He's zipping around. They're
Oh
popping
my
down the
God.
radius. They've got Gabby. They're going to look towards Cuckoo. They'll get Cuckoo as well. It's a double kill for GH as Liquid are holding.
Another bash off the back of the meld. The duel is out, but it won't be enough. E-Blade Pop trying to actually protect the Legion, but she's already down the Requiem. It's so far away. I need a binoculars to see that ability. That's GG. Infamous are calling it. All the confidence is gone.
Veteran players had to find the will to triumph, forging order from chaos to give their teams a glimpse of light.
Epicenter is there. They're looking for this Tiny. Yeah, he loaded with the Burrow Strike. Tiny's still in all sorts of trouble here. He does have a toss if he wants to try and use it. Echo Slam catches out 3. Miracle absolutely destroying them. He's got the Maledict on him, though. He's going to take a lot of damage here. Old Chicken is just holding his ground. He's life-stealing back up as well, but he gets crit. He gets deleted. Miracle. Oh, that damage. Holy moly.
Arteezy slow on life. He'll try and hit your Rhinans out of S1 to get the hell out of here. Burrow Strike in 1 second, but the mana, it got taken away by the Mystic Snake. They have to pop out. They have to fight. At least he'll be able to get one die back over on the Tusker, or maybe he can get more. A double kill for Arteezy. A triple kill for Arteezy. He's just turned his crap up. Ultra kill, giving the Rampage the pass.
After 4 days of grueling battle, the field has narrowed. For those who survived, the ultimate test on the main stage awaits.
There we go, then. That's the group stage. We're going to recap as well and talk a little bit more about it because it was one of the most fascinating group stages we've had, gents. I'm excited every time the first game starts, but I have to tell you, when the first game started in the group stage, it was Alliance banning techies in the first phase bans against Secret, and then Alliance are winning for 20 minutes, dominating, and then Secret come up thinking, well, if it's half as good as that game for the rest of the game, I'm happy. It just got better.
You knew it's going to be the greatest group stage ever when you saw the techies ban, the IO being played as a carry, position 4 Invoker. A lot of these heroes are being played in untraditional roles, and this is just the beauty of the Dota.
They're making new traditions now out of these heroes. Like, I'm going to see position 4 Invoker in all of my pubs. We're going to see carry IO. We're going to have to get a lot of reports, right? Yeah, no, it's going to be a problem. But I think that it's not just the hero picks. It's like the gameplay, the comeback from mega creeps. It's been crazy.
And Trent, I also like the fact that we've had a lot. It feels like a really wide range of styles. No one's really figured everything out. Like, OG have got this kind of crazy, we'll just pick anything and play anything and whatever.
Yes.
We'll play IO carry and we don't care. But then the other teams are kind of like not playing for it, like Infamous. They've only played 34 heroes. Compare that to Chaos, who played 57 during the group stages. It's crazy.
And as the group stage, tends to go on, we start to narrow it a little bit for the heroes. So we do have some of our standout heroes, of course, right? We got like this Ogre Magi going on, the Elder Titan, who ended up being the most picked there too, and then all the combinations with him, like the Gyrocopter, all that magic damage and stuff. So we're figuring them out, but that is what's scary, right? Because you still don't know where you could go. And there's so many heroes that still haven't been touched that are TI classics. I mean, the Darkseer hasn't been picked. Keeper of the Light. That guy won Liquid TI.
Why?
Why don't we take a quick look, actually, at the heroes that we haven't...
Do you have that power?
We might have that, because we're prepared here at the International. So let's take a look at the heroes that haven't been played yet, because there are only 7 of them.
Yeah, if you buff Darkseer, he's not going to get picked. That's just the way it is.
Wait,
in every single patch, he gets a nerf, keeps being the first ban, first pick material, and now he gets 25 damage on the vacuum.
That's a good point.
Okay, let me ask you this. Out of those 7, which one is the most likely to still be picked? Which one might get picked?
I would probably say Darkseer simply because of he's Darkseer and the off lane is still a little sketch to me right now. That Ogre gets banned out. The Ench is banned out.
So Trent's
I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. I played a lot of Darkseer. He feels terrible right now. This hero, like, you could pick anything else. You can run CM off lane, and you're going to be more for your team.
He carried you.
You got like 2,000 MMR by playing
and then
only
they nerfed him.
And you're going to turn on him like that?
All right, it's going to be Ursa because he owns Darkseer, and it doesn't matter. They're going to be able to pick it up.
All right, one of the other things I want to bring up, and we're going to show you kind of some notable stats from the group stage. We played 144 games during that group stage, and we averaged nearly 50 kills per game. 50 kills per game. Everyone's like, Dota's pretty quiet these days. Kind of,
That's not quiet.
Hold on, that's not quiet. That, ladies and gents, is the horn, which signals the start of day 1 of the main event.
I'm very, very afraid. I don't know if I'm ready for the hype levels it's bringing out right now.
It could get very hype in our first game of the day. Virtus Pro versus PSG LGD.
I mean, how the thing that's crazy is that this is how TI has started before.
As in previous seasons, Virtus Pro have returned to the International as major champion winners of the regular season, although it hasn't been the best of regular season for them. It's not the domination that they saw in 2018, but rather a calm approach towards TI. They didn't have a great group stage, it has to be said. They are under a lot of pressure after going 8-8 and only qualifying for this upper bracket match in their final game of the groups. Virtus Pro settle themselves down and await their opponents, who will get a rapturous applause from the hometown crowd. PSG LGD to the arena, and the chants have already begun. If Virtus Pro had a pretty average season, PSG LGD had a terrible regular season comparison. No majors to their name, didn't look all good all the way through, have struggled in plenty of those tournaments as well, but they've come here with one purpose: avenge the defeat they suffered 12 months ago in the grand final to OG Esports, and do it on home soil and become first-time champions of the International. It's incredible, actually, gents, when I think about it, that LGD, this legendary name of Dota 2, has never taken the ages.
It's pretty unbelievable. And at various points, they've had a couple of different teams that have been up in the top echelon. I think back to TI9, you know, LFY and LGD, both making it up there, and it blows my mind. I have to also say, I think I need to go to a doctor because I've had goosebumps for the past hour. It's just, it keeps going.
It's fine. I think if you have got it, it's spread, because I've got it as well. I've seen the Koss rubbing his neck a little bit and stuff, so I think we've got goosebumpitis.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is actually extremely exciting. LGD, FY was in 2 grand finals of TI, but never,
the only player
never
to
won them.
2 and not win.
Yeah, and I love what Poppy said, that China is the cradle of Dota. When no one knew how to play Dota, we came into the China misery with not eHome and the LGD International to learn how to actually play Dota.
Yeah, they definitely set the early meta of this game.
I think you should go back, you know, learn a little bit more about Buddy. Just spamming some pudge in the pubs.
Do you know, I was actually thinking, you guys have been fairly civil and polite so far. I was expecting a bit more spice.
We're going to save it for a little bit later, right? Wait till things get a little, you know, when you need it. Yeah. For now, we don't need to do much because the crowd is kind of carrying us here. You know?
Let's talk about these two teams in group stage, Trent. 8-8 for Virtus Pro, struggled for the most part and only got through on that final day. One game. It was effectively a best of one for the upper bracket, which they won, obviously. PSG, on the other hand, that have the second best record. And when you look at all of the stats, they feature in the top 2 or 3 teams for most kills, least deaths, best GPM, least deaths on a play. You know, they're up there in the top 2 or 3. Virtus Pro don't feature in the top 10 for anything other than deaths.
No, and they started okay, right? I mean, they're coming to this tournament. They won some majors, you know. Well, a major. You know, like, it's Virtus Pro, of course. I'm going to go for Virtus Pro, right? These are good players. They've had their historic struggles at TI. I mean, we're not going to lie to you. I mean, that wasn't going to happen. It was, I think, when they got 0-2'd by Na'Vi. It's like, oh, that's not good. And then suddenly you're down, right? They lost another 2 after that, and then every single draw, you're just treading water, right? You're not gaining back up there, and it wasn't right till the end, as you said, where they finally just like squeaked their way up, and then everyone's like, oh, see, I knew VP would be upper bracket. Who was worried?
But gents, isn't that the mark of a really good team? The one that aren't playing well, haven't quite figured the meta out, but still somehow make the upper bracket.
Well, you need to play good all the time, and I mean, fans were a little bit considering whether they're gonna make it or not. But this is not the VP that we're used to. Like, we know the full divide dot cover. They go all in, the aggressive. You lose 1 or 2 heroes, and suddenly you don't have the Raxes. And this is not what we've seen from Virtus.pro.
To your point, though, the thing that I was going to mention is that it felt like they had different ideas coming in when they started compared to when they ended.
Right.
You look at it, it's like Leshrac and Vengeful Spirit. They're the only team, except for one, that played Vengeful Spirit. They all lost every single game that they played with it. So if they can just get through on pure skill, it's the type of a team that can come back and really make a run.
Yeah, later on, they seem to have moved more towards so PSG playing Ogre and ET straight away, so they kind of figured it out. Virtus.pro have kind of gone that way. Oh, okay, that's the meta. Yeah, we figured it out. So they've got good captain, they've got great players. We know they can come back. But what is it about TI, Trent? Because they don't perform here. They did in 2018, they did in 2017 either.
I think for both teams, right, after these performances, when you feel like you're strong teams, you have that question of just like everyone's looking around the room after the game ends like, all right, guys, what's going on? Are we staying together? What's the plan here? And Virtus.pro, I think, was a team that a lot of people did not think would be staying together, if I had to guess, after last year, right? I would have expected some sort of changes or something, but no, they stuck it out.
They did.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they went for that sort of a change, the shift the blame scapegoat kind of change. Perfect. Yeah. And then LGD was kind of the same thing, but, you know, it's second place at TI, so that I can more understand, right? We feel like we can make that change, and we can do it. So both these teams coming back again, same guys, but hopefully fresher and stronger.
It's funny, actually, as well. PSG didn't have the best of seasons. Didn't win a major, obviously, weren't very competitive. They were fine, but they weren't greatly competitive. Weren't up there with the secrets of this world. And yeah, every time they placed against VP, they had really good games. They actually finished ahead of VP, 5-4 or head-to-head during the regular season. So they've got their number. And 12 months ago, let's not forget, 2-0'd Virtus.pro to send them to the lower bracket. So
they definitely know how to play against Virtus.pro. I mean, their styles are pretty much similar with the aggressiveness, but Virtus.pro's aggressive level kind of dropped. And as you said, LGD, they were not even in top 3 at any major. I think that's the mental thing that they need to go through.
Yeah. Does it matter, Trent, in the end, when it comes down to it? You know, we're at TI. Anything goes now, right?
Well, right now, it doesn't matter.
Everyone that's left in has a chance.
They do. I would say, though, that the big problem for VP is they're sort of a victim of their own success, that they've never had to struggle during the regular season because they're just that much better. And so when they do struggle at TI, all of the pressure is on them. It's a different feeling, right? Like, you have a different feeling when you've actually never been challenged, really, and you just dominate everybody all year long. It's different. It's tough.
Yeah, I'm glad you raised pressure, because I also want to bring up the pressure on Chinese teams must be enormous. Every time we come out here, guys, right, we talk about this because it happens a lot, right? You know, we talk about the home fan advantage, home crowd advantage, hometown, whatever you want to call it. But actually, it seems to work the opposite way, Lacoste, in China, because the Chinese teams feel like there's more pressure. I mean, we have fans in the hotel last night on the first and second floor just trying to find players.
Yeah, they're
running
very,
around,
very proudful about their country, as everyone is.
Yeah.
And I mean, if this is the year that they are going to take TI, it's this. Vici Gaming's looking extremely strong. Same goes for
So you don't think
LG.
it matters for them? You don't think that pressure on them is bad?
Well, it's a lot of pressure, but I mean, these are all experienced players who know how to play under a lot of pressure. And once you're in the booth, I don't think you're thinking about anything else rather than Dota 2.
I think the pressure that I would be more concerned about for them is the pressure they put on themselves, as opposed to the pressure they're feeling.
I've got to win because I'm in China.
Exactly.
All the eyes are on, but it's like I'm putting pressure.
Exactly. So, you know, the stress. It's just a very stressful event. And I think for players in particular, the big goal is just to get out of that and let's get into the Dota game and just focus on that.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of again, going back to the intros, if there's one man on PSG LGD that gets the biggest cheer, it's maybe every time. And he's such an icon out here.
Yeah, and he did something this year that Solo did as well, right? Where he took a break. Where this idea of just like not grinding through the entire year constantly. And LGD used the opportunity to bring up one of their younger players, right? They had, I think it was XM who came in. He played a bunch of matches with them, and he was on one of like the minor teams kind of in the area. And so, cool, this guy gets some good experience, maybe gets a break, very good stuff. VP, they do the same thing, right? Solo took a break, and Arzik gets that new perspective, right?
Yeah.
He's actually playing in the games, kind of maybe seeing how his team communicates a little bit more in an actual official and stuff. So I think both these teams, that's what it comes down to. It's focusing on TI. It's not about these majors or these minors throughout the year.
It's looking ahead.
Just get here, and then that's the real Dota.
I have to disagree with you, Paul, a little bit. I think cheering for Ame was the loudest one because
Okay.
people love Ame. He's my favorite
Have you
player
got some
from
sort
LGD.
of crowd measuring tool under here?
Nah, I just have a good hearing.
Okay,
that's all.
well, I definitely don't.
So we love Ame because when he plays Dota, you know something good and bad is going to happen. Mostly it's good, but they've been picking a lot of Void. And this is the hero that either you look extremely good or what is this guy doing? And they picked Void 4 or 5 times.
5
already in the
times,
group
4 on 1
stage.
during
Yeah.
the group
And he
stage,
tended to look good. We should say that. There wasn't
Most
too
of the
many
time.
For now.
problems. Exactly.
Yeah, until Virtus.pro figure him out some way. And he's actually just 1 game away, by the way, from 300 career wins with PSG LGD.
Wow.
I mean, because you think of I think of LGD these days, not of Gel 8. I actually think of LGD with maybe because he's coming up for like 1,200 games or something ridiculous. But Army's been there a long time now. He's part of the furniture as well.
And what's crazy is that he's relatively young too.
Yeah.
Like a young guy, young player. It feels like a lot of people take inspiration from him too. Like across all the other scenes. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like whenever, I mean, what is it? LGD Ame fan. That's like the big meme on Reddit, right? That's some insider or whatever. They love him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he comes with the new jungle strats, right? He gets the new item build, and you see the NA pubs guys like, oh, what's Ame doing over there? Oh, okay, I'm gonna try that in my game. For some reason, it doesn't work nearly as well. I don't know what's up with that, but
Not quite. Virtus.pro got plenty of cheers though on the way in.
Yeah.
Obviously been decorating themselves with Chinese words. I think that's really smart, by the way. Just a side story, but I think it's really smart that they've appealed to the Chinese fans by changing all the names on the back, and they've got some decorations on the front, and it's obviously paid dividends. So obviously, the majority of the fans here cheer for LGD.
Yeah, but I think the crowd loves Virtus.
I think
They are
do,
cheering
right?
for good
Yeah, exactly.
Dota.
Yeah,
They
good
want to
Dota.
see LGD winning 2-1 against Virtus
Yeah.
Pro because I think everyone wants to see Game 3 here.
Yeah, I would love Game 3 for fantasy points alone.
there, now you're really thinking
no, I
tall.
messed up. I didn't do my fantasy.
Lyrical. Come on now.
My bad.
Well, whilst he sucks, let's go over the 3 men that don't suck too much.
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. My name's Tsunami, and I'm joined by 2 men whose streams you've probably fallen asleep to. It's Cinder and Purge. It's a pleasure to be here. We are bringing back the draft panel. It's been a long time coming, but we don't really trust them to talk about the Dota. I trust you two to talk about the Dota. Guys, it's LGD versus VP. These teams always face off at the beginning of TI. How is this fated to be all the time?
Oh, they're both really good.
Yeah, that's
So-
exactly right. Extremely good
Oh, I
players.
get
I
it.
mean, it's going
I
to
get
happen.
it.
You get winner bracket, and there's only, what, 4 options? So, yeah.
I like what they mentioned on the panel over there that Virtus.pro had a really slow start, which is kind of unusual, I want to say. Generally, when we've seen VP in big tournaments, they come in really hot, and then they get cold when it gets crunch time for main events. This time around, they've had to struggle through the groups, which could end up being helpful for them, getting this experience of learning from losses. We've seen plenty of times in previous tournaments that teams that start up losing and regain momentum suddenly go really far. OG barely got 4th in groups last year. They end up winning the whole thing.
Yep.
We've had plenty of tournaments with teams like Evil Geniuses with slow starts.
Yeah, I think what's important is that the teams that ultimately want to win TIs, they do what they think is best. They don't try to follow the meta, and I think VP is a lineup that is doing that, even though they had that rough start. One thing that I thought was really interesting about looking over their past drafts is the one hero that they didn't pick or ban the whole group stage was Ogre Magi, which is mind-blowing considering the fact that almost every other team prioritizes it as like the 3rd or 4th best hero, ideally as offlane, sometimes as support. So that's something that could be really interesting going into the draft.
He's been the hero of the tournament, and for Virtus.pro, they seem to be favoring a little bit more of this like Shadow Demon support type thing, as we should see the draft beginning shortly. LGD versus VP, game 1. It is a best of 3 in this upper bracket. We're going to start taking a look at the heroes.
They're jumping into it pretty quick. No Ogre ban or pick. Enchantress was definitely one of the most important heroes for everybody here. VP ended up banning that in the first stage. In the first 2 picks, we have a Silencer Earthshaker for Virtus.pro, and for LGD, we have a Rubik and a Tidehunter.
Silencer first phase, Cinderin.
Yeah.
What is all this happening?
I love this hero. And I think Solo has a very good understanding of how to play it in lane. Silencer was a hero going into this tournament that I thought teams were in general going to rate higher than they have. But VP was definitely one of the top teams that I would be looking to pick this hero more than others. Simply, even the possibility of running at core, which I don't know if we've seen them do, but when you pick it this early, it can even be a flex pick. Silencer has a lot of good matchups in mid, and overall, just this first phase in general for both teams is super team fight heavy. So I think both teams are coming in with this plan that, all right, the way we're going to be playing this first game of the main event will be centered around taking really good team fight executions. And yeah, Silencer breaks that up really nicely.
It'll help a lot against the Rubik and the Tide for sure. Because then if you do start an engagement, at least in the first or early part of the game, you can prevent some steals. You can make sure that the Ravage comes late or something like that.
Yeah, the potential for the team fight seems to be a very conservative way to enter a high-stakes event like this, because everyone always says, you know, like, oh, your laning phase may not matter, you know, the late game may not matter. It just matters about your initiation and your team fight execution. They've got the initiation set up as well on Virtus Pro with the Earthshaker, a hero that we've been seeing also in a variety of roles. We saw some Miracle Earthshaker in the group stage. Obviously, we saw Tim's crushing it on the Earthshaker. This is a hero that has a lot of flex potential, but is always great at initiation.
The other heroes to pay attention to, not necessarily just in this game, but the top 3 supports right now are probably Shadow Demon, Elder Titan, and Ogre is the third most likely. So those all getting banned in the first phase, not too surprising there. LGD using Leshrac a lot in their matches during the group stage. It was a lot of like SD, Leshrac, Elder Titan, Leshrac openings. So they've done their homework.
Something curious about this draft is when you think about the pick order, when we jumped in, we saw the 2 heroes from either side, but the pick order of this game was the first pick Silencer.
Correct. Into
Tide Rubik, who were saying Silencer is good against, and then they picked Shaker into Rubik, which is a classic Shaker counter pick because you can steal the fissure. So it kind of feels like both teams have an idea, and they don't really care too much about what the other team wants. They're just like, we have our strategy, we know how to play this, you guys can try to counter us. Let's see if you can beat our best strategy.
So now that we see the Gyrocopter, you're telling me that VP is going to pick up an IO? You got to keep up in the arms race every single time. We've seen a lot of Gyro have success. In fact, surprising amount of Gyro having success, probably the most popular carry at the group stage, and most of it was without an IO.
Yeah, it's definitely the most surprising carry trend for me, at least, because classically its strength has always been linked to IO, and the IO still seems kind of good. Although in this tournament, not a hero that's been massively banned, so maybe Valve and IceFrog finally pushing it into the right place. But Gyro's strong because he can lane quite well. He does damage just with having levels, essentially. He's gotten some base damage buffs as well, so he lanes kind of okay. And most importantly, the early rotations. You leave your lane with those extra levels you've been given by your team, and then you make kills happen in other places. So he helps scale and tempo in the early game, and then in the late game, he can itemize pretty effectively to be a hard carry.
An added benefit of this hero is also something I've noticed from LGD. They love picking this hero when they're second pick, because something you're struggling with when you go into the second phase of the draft, the second pick, is that every pick you take, the enemy gets a counter pick. So ideally, you want to, in this phase, grab heroes that can fulfill multiple roles or go to multiple lanes so that the enemy team can't just target out one of your heroes at a time and just beat them in lane. And Gyrocopter for LGD, oh, that's a first brew pick of the tournament. Let's go.
Knock down one of the unplayed heroes. Brewmaster has finally been selected.
I'm surprised because when I saw him in the graph, or the chart earlier, I thought, oh, Brewmaster's not terrible. He's very good at team fighting. That's one of the best benefits. So between Brew Split and Global Silence and Earthshaker, they should have some nice team fight advantage. You can take one guy out of the fight. That could be Cyclonian the Gyrocopter, for example. And then you look at LGD's draft and you're like, where's your damage? So there's laning potential with the hero. His Ags was changed recently to increase the movement speed of the Brew Splits. There are some options with this hero, and I'm surprised it took this long for him to get grabbed.
Well, Pasha is an accomplished Brewmaster player. They just needed to barely edge their way into the upper bracket, and they're like, now that we're here, now we can start playing our real heroes.
They actually diversified their drafts a lot more than a lot of other teams. They didn't stick with the same core heroes. They were trying things out. Could be a sign that VP has some plans, that they're just trying to feel things out. They know they're a confident team. Wherever they land, they'll do well. And the Ogre does finally make its way in.
So just to finish off on the Gyrocopter, we get a very quick counter pick to the Gyro here with the Morphling. Very thick. I wouldn't consider Morphling in that category, unless, well...
You got to go all strength, full strength, and then you're thick with 2 Cs.
Morph can turn into whatever he wants. If he's feeling thick on the day, he can go that way.
I'm thinking he's feeling like Gyro on this day, as
he's feeling like Gyro on this day. Clear counter pick. But correct me if I'm wrong, I think LGD have mainly played the Gyro mid on Somnus. I think they've played it carry once or twice, maybe. And obviously that's a clear advantage here. But one of the great things about Morphling is, I talked about how, well, you can't really counter this guy in lane necessarily because you don't know which lane he's going to, but regardless of which role he is, Morphling just takes advantage of him being in the game. It doesn't even matter how much farm Gyro has. As long as he has the levels so you can turn into him and get the flak cannon, you can do massive team fight damage.
And what we're expecting to see as well is that he'll be gyro early mid-game, and by the time he builds an Aghanim Scepter, then he's going to turn into the Earthshaker.
Yeah.
We saw tons of teams abuse this. It is really strong if you get to a decent mid-game.
Yep. There's the fact, something that's kind of a luxury on some heroes, such as Morphling, is when you have multiple options. It's always nice to have these heroes that you go into a situation and depending on what is going on, you can choose which way you want to go. It's also one of Invoker's conceptual strengths as a hero, which we haven't seen too much this tournament, but Invoker's ability to just, you know, okay, this is this type of fight, so now I'm going to use these spells. This is this type of fight, I'm going to use these spells. And that's kind of what Morphling can do here, right? Is this a Shaker fight? Is it a Gyro fight? If we get the jump, perhaps even when you have Ags, there will be fights that maybe the Flat Cannon is more valuable. And yeah, we're going to have to see what type of fights VP get themselves into.
Maybe even a Brewmaster, potentially. The third passive, Drunken Brawler, is really effective for giving you a lot of crit damage. So in short periods of team fight, you could jump in, slow the whole team. Even the second skill, I think, is generally pretty underrated. I can't remember the name of it. The one that gives essentially like mischance, kind of like reverse blade mail.
I always assume it's Drunken Haze. Brawlers when you're
yeah.
punching people. Haze is when people are wasted.
That skill can also be pretty effective depending on.
Isn't it called Cinder Brew?
Cinder Brew, that's the one.
Is it?
Yeah.
I would know.
He's correct.
Cinder guy.
Oh, that's it's closest to your name.
Yeah.
Ask me Shadow Demon skills. Go ahead. Release poison.
It's
I knew you were going to ask that one.
Demonic something. Demonic something.
Release poison.
VP obviously looking extremely reliant on their team fight. Being able to bring in the silencer means that, like you said, the Morphling has the luxury of choosing which of the heroes on the field he chooses to turn into. Obviously, we were assuming that he's going to get an Aghanim Scepter fairly on. I can't see any reason why not to. The Earthshaker is just too good potential of a morph target.
It's super strong. However, one weakness of VP's lineup, we've been talking a lot about the strengths of how good teamfight they have. They are at a massive cooldown burden. Yes. If they take a team fight and it doesn't go well, they flat out just hit a weak point for 2 minutes when they don't have Global Silence, when they don't have Echo Slam, when they don't have Primal Split. Whereas LGD's lineup, sure, you've got the long cooldown and the Tidehunter, but the rest of the lineup is kind of online all the time. Short cooldowns, really high impact damage spells. And VP are going to try to alleviate this a bit by getting some sustain in the Dazzle.
Well, what if I gave you a hero that had inherent cooldown reduction with the Dazzle? How does that sound?
Doesn't give it to his teammates, though.
No, not quite.
The last pick of a Sven. Sven, a bit interesting, very survivable. I think he's going to be able to just tank a lot of the magic damage, the AoE damage that Morphling's putting out, so maybe he'll be able to sustain against like Brew Split and things like that.
Yeah. Seeing a lot of rock, paper, scissors going on here, but it's not up to us anymore. I just want to introduce one man, the myth, the promo code. It's BSJ.
Thank you, Neil. I feel like this entire draft, basically each team one-upping each other in the team fight department. And what I see with this first time picking Brew in the entire main event is that they see a combo breaker in the Tidehunter. They have this hard initiation with the Silencer Earthshaker, but if they go on the Tidehunter and he Kraken shells off the global and gets that Ravage off, suddenly everything they want to do in the team fight, the burst with the Morphling Flat Cannon as well as potentially the Ags Earthshaker, is just going to backfire in terms of they are just going to turn the entire fight with the Tidehunter Ravage. So I think this game, I really like the VP draft as it scales into the late game with the Morphling, but the Sven is just much higher paced, and I think that with the Gyrocopter low cooldown in the aggressive mid game, they'll be able to force the issue at a pace that the Morphling won't be able to keep up with. And for no one else to better show us the game, Odie, Pixel, and Fog, take us away.
Thank you very much, Brian. And ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The first series we're going to be showing here on the main stage of TI9 live from Shanghai. I'm Odie Pixel here at Fog. As Brian said, it really was sort of a one-up of each other with this draft. It was. But I really feel like the biggest one-up of them all was that morph. There was no hesitation there from VP. Yeah. They saw that gyro. They were picking that morph straight away.
Especially when you have the rest of the setups, right? Just like they were mentioning, it's not just that gyrocopter. They have their own backups too with that Earthshaker, even with the Brewmaster, who is the first pick. And also, let's just be really happy here that we're on the first game of the main stage, and we got FY Rubik.
We got an FY Rubik.
We got FY Rubik.
Oh, we do.
And I love when we see like Rubik and Morphling versus each other, because we're gonna see a lot of like, it's not like spell steals, but Morphling kind of has that little like spell steal factor with him as well, right? So we could see like 3 fissures inside of fights definitely coming out into play. So
we may lose track of whose spell is whose. They're going to be thrown out everywhere. Oh, yeah. And not just sort of the Rubik, the opening to this draft, it felt very sort of old school, right? We're getting like this Rubik tied on one side, this silencer being thrown in by VP, something that we saw them do a few times back in the Epicenter Major and have a lot of success with.
Yeah.
I'm bringing something new, as mentioned on the draft panel, the Brewmaster. Not a hero we've seen yet at this TI. VP, as always, the team that you can expect to do this, they're breaking in with something a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree totally with what they're saying about like trying to break the combo. They see the Tidehunter picked up early. They're like, all right, Brewmaster, hero traditionally not picked too much, but versus that Tide, you don't have to worry so much about him cracking showing stuff off because you're probably just going to be searching for him in the fights just to throw him up in the air with that Cyclone of the Wind Panda. So I think the other thing they also went for is what I was talking to teams about, why Brewmaster wasn't really getting picked so much is because his laning phase is pretty bad right now, is what they all were in consistency with. Earthshaker allows you to kind of skip that because you're going to fissure block the wave constantly. You're going to set up Pasha to have a much better time. So we'll see if that does play off for VP as matching the LGD aggression. We've seen these gyrocopters just pop off.
This is a gyrocopter, though, that is going to have to start in the mid lane, and it's going to be against that No One Dazzle, another sort of VP speciality that they brought out at some of the previous DPC events.
Probably pretty good lane for the Dazzle, I'd imagine. Just being able to constantly poke. You have the heal to push the wave in as well, so it can be hard for you to actually secure anything as a gyro because of that here. But they're already going to start with those missiles, of course, trying to secure those range creeps. He's going to be able to get this one. It's the 9.
That was really nicely done by No One. Getting the heal off before the missile connected, so he knew that he would have that time on the range creep to get the deny.
Yeah, very nicely played there. As they had FY sitting mid trying to snipe a courier, so I think that's one of the telltale things is when they're like, ooh, the matchup might be a little bit difficult for us in the mid lane, so let's try to give you a little bit of an advantage there. Isn't able to get it. He's going to go top to try to help out Chalice. This is what I like to call the damage reduction lane, the Rubik and the Tidehunter. Throw your Fade Bolt, your Anchor Smash onto the carry. Going to be very tough for you to get those last hits.
Yeah, on the plus side, at least it's sort of a double range lane for VP.
Yes.
So Ramsey's, obviously the Fade Bolt, he can't do much about getting hit by, but the Anchor Smash, you can try and sort of play it around. And eventually he's going to have those spells to be able to nuke the creeps as well.
Yeah, and he still has a silencer backing him up. One of the stronger support heroes, at least zoning these type of heroes out. Tidehunter, doesn't matter if you have Kraken Shell, because you're just going to be taking those pure damage from those glaives. So.
Got Roger looking for some action towards the mid. It was sort of spotted out by the ward. Still though, Somna's taking a lot of damage from this move. Will be able to stay alive and get himself back behind the tower, but they've got to be prepared for this these sort of rotations, LGD.
Yeah, he's getting pressured a lot. Only the 2 or 3 last hits right now on the Gyrocopter. Versus no one. As we kind of felt it would be, right? That Dazzle pick, that's why they wanted to have it versus this mid lane Gyrocopter. Still having Roger kind of chilling around the area.
It's just such a strong lane. They have the offensive potential with a poison touch, and these heals, as you've seen, if you're not used to it, even if you are, even if you're at the top of your game, these heals will throw you off getting those range CS.
Absolutely. So Pasha, we see he's starting to struggle, of course, because Roger's making those moves around the map. So he's just going to look to pull some creep waves, get chased out by X-Nova quite a bit here, as this Ogre who's just going to punch him. But full free farm, importantly for Ame. That's the one we're looking at. The Sven is getting no pressure on him whatsoever.
Oh, bit of a lift back onto Solo, dragging him into the creep wave. FY! He'll set up for first blood. Solo stepping a little too far forward.
It's an FY Rubik. It's game 1 of the main stage. He wants the first blood.
Could be the beginning of a bit of an FY highlight reel, depending on how this game goes. But definitely the fact that Sven is starting well, as you say, this is what BSJ talked about. He was worried about LGD. If they can get that Gyro and Sven off to a good start, it's going to be very tough for VP to sort of hold the game off to the point where Morph is able to come to the fights and really utilize the flak without being run over.
Ooh, look at FY doubling up the wave there nicely for Chalice, making Ramsey's also farm under the tower as well. Some nice moves around here by FY, just building those up. He's just dancing around.
He is, and obviously what the VP do, they can start to walk Solo over, but FY...
He's got a TP available.
Yeah, he can... I mean, he's
actually dead.
He's taking way too much damage. He's going to head up to the tower, but Solo, he's going to be around for the XP on that one.
Didn't get in.
What was the plan there from FY? He's just trying to double stack the creep so they push into the Tide on the top?
Yeah, I think he wants Chalice to be diving under Ramsey just like this, putting the pressure on him, not letting him to just free farm under the tower. Obviously, not wanting to die there, but it's not the biggest loss. Sure, Solo gets some gold there for himself, but you see Chalice is getting having a great time, and look at that. Look at this wave. That's a triple range creep coming in now. So that's going to be a very happy Tidehunter. So I think VP, they should take advantage of this, though. I think you want to maybe even rotate Roger up top, and you try to set up here for trying to push. Do not let this Tidehunter get that creep wave off of the tower. And look at this. This is really going to... This could actually chunk the tower down a lot. So Chalice, he has the skill of Gush, but he has the skill point in Gush, but no mana just yet. And Roger is making the move over.
And he's got that Arcane Ring, so it's likely that he's going to get the chance to get a couple of fishes out. So we'll see the opening. In they go, collapsing in onto Chalice. TP over will be coming through from the Ogre. They're blocking Chalice off. FY's there with the new cut to Ramsey, but Ramsey starts to shift, turns towards FY, has to wait for him out over towards the trees and out of there. Chalice still alive. PSG LGD will be able to keep Chalice safe with the support rotation. They're still trying to poke. In fact, Chalice, he's come back up. The curse is on it. Chalice will still end up going down. Now VP turning their attention over towards X-Nova. They're going to try and chase for another. The Fade Ball from FY will come out.
There's just too many creeps. They clipped the wave under the tower too, so they just continue diving forward.
Yeah, those stacked up creeps working against PSG LGD there in that sense. And in fact, VP, they're still poking and they're still fighting. PSG LGD is trying to come back in for the room contest, but VP's already picked it up. Be able to grab that one and the top one. Meanwhile, down bottom, Arme does continue to get all the space in the world, enough space himself to head over and grab those 2 bounty runes for the team.
He's going to be the full free farm. The other one, though, if you look at the mid lane, look at that Dazzle. 31 and 10 to the 18-3.
This is the power.
He has really done a great job in this matchup here. They're even trying to fix this right now with a gank setup, but there's not level 6 yet on that gyrocopter, so no call down available. TP is at the ready. Roger's already prepared for this. He's actually smoking himself alone to try to catch something here, and he breaks this.
He sees the entire movement, sees the 2 supports in the river as the smoke breaks, and no one is going to be very, very safe and sound. They cannot get that surprise movement onto him.
Pasha dropping low from the cleave. Be careful not to step up too far. A couple more hits and a stun, and he probably can go down here. Pasha.
Oh.
He actually stepped up.
Oh, no. Pasha. Pasha getting a little shaky on the main stage. We saw some of those deaths from Pasha in the group stage.
Yeah. If
I'm
he got
sure
lucky,
the team would have hoped that it sort of left those behind, but
he did get the Drunken Brawler off before the attack, so it was like a 50-50 chance, but still.
But you shouldn't
risky.
play for that sort of RNG. That's not good odds. Do also managed to get the courier here, VP, so taking that one down from LGD and getting that gold bonus.
They were actually able to finish. I saw Roger chasing it with illusions, but wow, he was actually good to chase it and finish it. That's a bit surprising there, LGD, getting caught off guard. Still farming very well, as we were saying.
Arme is, especially with that kill, this Sven lane has just gone better to better.
Yeah, how's their stacks looking? Looks like they're starting to prepare them. Both FY and Xnova will start to do those for the Sven and the Gyro. Both of them can benefit a lot from that, as we probably expect Somnus, though, to be the one who's going to be running around more so as this Gyro ganking while Ame just farms. But Ame's off to such a great start. And immediately starts pressuring Pasha as well.
And Pasha really does have to be careful.
He's doing pretty well, though. Like, the Chert Gold, it's not the greatest, but he's kind of tied with the Gyrocopter, and actually Tanner, so it's pretty decent, but levels. It's almost a level 6 Brewmaster. So in this game, the Brew has a lot of different potential he can do. Has to be careful of some steals later on from the Rubik. You can cover it pretty easily with your Brawler, but he can dispel the Bloodlust, he can dispel the Warcry, throwing up that Tidehunter as we talked about as well. Going to be very important for that VP side's team fights. It's Pasha. Making an invasive play here. Not quite level 6, pretty close to it as well.
He's going to get surrounded.
Get surrounded here.
Well, there are 3 of them after going for the high ground. He has got no one by his side. So we'll be able to walk away. No point shed, of course, in the grave. Fully offensive. No one with a skill build at the moment.
As expected. He's also queued up the book, which we also seem to expect pretty much every single time on the core Dazzles. The one thing is, though, they do have great ways to farm that book. So I think no one does have to be careful when he is like pushing out waves and farming with these, because Gyrocopter and Sven, they eat that book very easily whenever it is going to be used, if it's not inside of just a farming position in the jungle. Solo is spotted on his warding expedition. He's looking in some trouble.
He's got a lot of backup coming in as well, Arme. They should be able to slow this one down. Missiles out. Fisher block from Roger.
Very nicely done.
Will actually shut the play down. They won't be able to chase.
And this is them all bringing the attention away from Ramses. He's able to just get all these free last hits top now, landing alone versus Chalice. Just keeps turning into the Tidehunter, throwing some gushes and anchor smashes onto him, then shits back to his form. As LGD, they're playing the farm game. You can just tell from the way they're setting up for all this, getting all these stacks prepared. And now they'll give FY the lane, as Alme will just jungle it up. Xnova will sap that experience. And it looks like VP, they want to get on the aggressive side here. They want to make the move bottom. They see that the Rubik is farming the lane, so they're like, all right, Sven's jungling, we have to put pressure on. Don't let this Rubik just keep fade bolting the wave and getting all this farm. So this looks like they're going to just surround and go for this tier 1, as we expect that LGD will probably do the same on the other side of the map, probably going for the mid tower or that top. So it will be the mid. So a little bit of mirror movements coming into play here from both sides.
We'll see who's able to start the fight first as Arme. Close to no one starts to poke. Roger will get the wrap around. They've been blocked up, kept on the high ground. There's the ult from Pasha. They're ready to run them down. They're straight away on top of the gyrocopter. Somnus, he's in trouble. They've taken him out. The rest of LGD will be able to get away, but again, Roger blocking off the entire team with that Fissure. They're even going to be able to look to chase Arme a little bit, but the split will end. They won't push it any further. Still though, great defense from VP.
Yep. Bringing Pasha there. Roger, again, being in the right place at the right time. So far, Roger on point with his Earthshaker rotations in this start, these first 10 minutes. Only level 3, as he's been forced to move around a lot, but he's got the tome. He'll be able to catch back up soon. And it looks like they're giving Somnus the tome in this one. Maybe will be the one taking it from his team. He probably just feels like he got set back a little bit too much versus that Dazzle. Sure, they don't have their Rubik level 6, but he'll probably be able to buy the other tome soon. Yeah, really prioritizing having that gyro off to a good start in that early game. Probably because they want to be able to farm. Like Tidehunter, not really that one who can run around and make plays too much early on. Sure, you have Ravage, but your gyro is that main driving force of your aggression on the LGD side until the later stages.
Sure. And even though his farm might not be great, as long as he can have Arme in the front and he's able to get out all his spells, the magical output of the gyro at this point is still something that VP have to be very wary of.
Absolutely.
You just have to make sure that they can get past Arme and get on top of Somnus. He is still vulnerable at the moment with that lack of farm that he could find in middle. Top lane, space is there, they'll take a tower. Arme's farm continues to skyrocket as he hits 6k net worth at 11 minutes in.
Looks like Ramsey's still going to be going for that Linken's first item. Probably the Linken's into the Aghanims in this game, as the panel was mentioning. Such a good Aghs game, as he has that Earthshaker on his team. But the Linken's very good versus those instant disables, in particular the Rubik.
Roger. Again, he's coming with the wraparound onto mid, looking for FY. FY has got the heal stolen.
But the poison and the Arcane Curse, he's ticking away. Goodbye.
They got him. A lot of damage over time, as you say. Those two spells, a bit of a nightmare. But for FY, at least the Ogre won't care too much. He's a little tankier, but anytime FY gets caught out by those two.
They're trying to take advantage here of the slight time that they expect the Brew ult to be down, but Brew ult's going to be back up in about 5 seconds. Pasha does have a TP. He's setting up immediately. Defense of the mid tower.
And again, Roger. He keeps blocking LGD off. They keep coming over to VP's half of the map and they can't get back to their own. X-Nova's trapped. Roger himself, can he get away though with the telekinesis from FY, dragging him back into the missile combo. Stuns out Roger, he's still alive. LGD cannot get the trade kill as Arme tries to move forward, but all the damage over time is a pretty sizable heal bomb. Limping Ramsey's looking for Arme. Arme's dead. Double Ramsey challenge. It's a 5-man Ravage, but is there the follow-up? Sticks a pop. VP, they're back up to full. They'll collapse immediately onto Somnus. They'll get themselves another chalice. Will be able to escape. But VP, they are outplaying and coordinating these team fights to perfection.
Such beautiful rotation. I mean, Roger is just coming in so clutch for his team. That wraparound, again, he even gets put in the front lines, and he survives during all of it. They don't have the damage because of how underfarmed the gyro is. Look at Maybe in the game. He's bottom 5 net worth. They don't have the damage for when he's in there.
And that's the second time that LGD's fallen for it. They're sending 3 heroes over the river, and it's as if they're forgetting that there's a Shaker in the game.
Such beautiful plays there by Roger. Yeah, like we said, too tanky for him to even go on. Ramses turns into the Morphling there, or turns into the Gyrocopter. Sure, they get double stunned, but at this moment in time, they're way too strong.
It's a bad call from LGD to try and stick around for the fight. They feel confident because they have the Ravage. But at that point, Arme's already dead. There's no way for them to follow it up.
He's not ready to fight just yet. I mean, he's got the phase, he's got the Midas, he pretty much has the Echo Saber now finished, but there's a lot of ways to control him, as we said, from that side of VP. This early game aggression coming from this Dazzle, from this Brewmaster, from this Earthshaker seems to be a bit too much for LGD to take right now.
I mean, if LGD want to fight, they've got to do it when they know there's no split. They know there's no global. This is that little bit of an opportunity, but it is hard because Chalice chose to try and commit to that last fight with the Ravage.
And we saw too, right? Like right when the Ravage went off, we saw Solo pops the global before he gets hit by it. So there's no follow-up. Even though in that instance there probably wasn't.
I mean, there was like no one around anyway.
But yeah, just to see what the plan is, why they wanted that silencer.
Still, the net worth very close due to the fact that Arme Even though he was taken out, he was able to get back onto the map, and with that Midas finished Echo Saber, he can keep that farm pace up very, very high. The gap is being closed between himself and Nolan and Ramses. It's both the Morph and Dazzle race to get on par with the Sven's farm, and if VP are able to start to gear up and push around this Dazzle and his Necro book, getting those towers, that net worth will swing even further in VP's favor.
I mean, the Necro won, and then he's just going, he's already queued up the mech. He's going straight for mech, trying to deal with all that damage that can be coming out from LGD. They're going to be able to counteract a lot of it. Not just that, they're going to get a couple timings together, it might seem, here for VP, as the Blink Dagger from Roger is only 600 gold away. And if we look at the initiation from LGD, it's kind of limited until they get that like Blink Dagger either on the Sven or on the Tidehunter, which they both do have queued up. It will take them some time. So Roger could come in really clutch if he's able to get that one at an early pace, and they're giving him the farm. Very close to that Blink. They're all already grouped up. The Brew Split is available again.
And LGD just avoiding VP entirely for now. See if they do anything about this tier 2 tower push. TP does come in from Xnova. With the push of the Necro, but VP doing a lot of damage to this tier 2. LGD will start to get close to the tier 2 top. Maybe think about looking for a trade, but it's not going to be easy. Bottom lane, Pasha trying for the wraparound. Xnova's already out of there, but the tower goes down for the 16-minute mark. VP continuing to keep the pressure up.
Xnova?
They want to try and dive this. They're going to. Ramses goes straight forward up to the high ground. Xnova's dead. Killing spree for Ramses. TPs will start to now come through from PSG LGD, but VP are able to easily back off, get themselves out of there.
They got what they wanted. They can get an extra kill out of it. They've got map control too. LGD not looking to want to fight until I believe they have those blinks. I think they need some easier ways to set up the fights to be able to just instantly kill someone on the side of VP. VP, when they're all rallied together, they're just seeming way too strong right now. And now the Blink Dagger is already finished up for Roger. I believe it's coming out on that courier.
And it's just the way that VP's playing. I don't blame sort of Brian in the analyst at the start. You know, you look at these lineups and you think, well, the Gyro Sven, they're going to be able to play the fastest. There's a Morph. He's going to need time. But Ramses is actually able to get really active across the map because they have this mid Dazzle. No one's just this force that enables the Morph so early on. It doesn't matter if Ramses is committing, getting low on the HP, because there will be that burst heal and time for him to shift back. He can play so aggressive, and he's catching them off a little bit. Now down bottom.
They don't have enough.
The split's going to be out. They're going to look towards Arme. They're going to surround him. Another heal bomb for no one. Bringing Arme down low. Pop the war cry.
They left him.
He's been abandoned. They've abandoned him. They know that there's no hope for Arme. As VP making moves there with just the two of them, taking down Arme, the most farmed hero, of course, on LGD's lineup. He just gets shredded by these heroes.
Yep. Pasha in this game, just be able to get how much he got down bottom because of the fissure blocks and everything from Roger. I'm definitely going to be giving Roger a lot of that credit there for that, the setup that's going on for the Brew. He's able to do so much, and now we're wondering, why is Brew not being picked a little bit more? You see how powerful it is. Whenever he has the ulti up, LGD's just booking it. Maybe
Apart from that one death in the lane, but hey, you know, it's the first time the hero's been picked this TI. It takes a bit of warming up.
Sure. I mean, he's still got so much done. And
he is.
With the combo.
He's in the zone now, Pasha.
Yeah, with the Dazzle, it's seeming really powerful, really potent, how much aggression they can really start over the early game and just allow Ramses to pretty much do whatever he wants as Ramses. He's gone greedy. He actually had the gold for the Lincolns, and he's like, find the point booster. I'm getting set up. I'm getting ready for my Aghanim's. You know, I'm just starting to prep that because I know what we're going to get to in this point as we see that Dota plus win probability already highly favoring VP. But LGD, they've got their timing now. They've got the blink on Chalice.
They do.
Are they going to put the find anything?
But at the same time, there's also the potential of the global silence. They'll find Solo, so there won't be a global. Or maybe there will. He's actually still alive because of the fact that Roger's able to throw himself in. Global's out. Roger keeping Solo safe. The heals are there. Chalice will now pop the Ravage on Ramses and will get the ball kill. It's a big one for LGD, but can they find any more? They'll start to move across to no one with a gush. Another curse thrown out by Solo onto both Xnova and Chalice. They're trying to chase for more here, LGD.
They know there's no Brew Split. That's the one thing. They're playing around that long cooldown timing. Trying to
pressure on. Looks like he may be a little too deep for them to continue to dive.
Ramses, he actually clicked the shrine, but he didn't click his attribute shift. So he just gets caught by the stun and dies. If he gets the shift off, he might be all right just there.
Chalice taking quite a beat down here from VP.
He's got the constant dispels.
No, Roger. He finds Roger. Roger was trying to sit at the backlines in the river, looking for a potential to get him with the Blink Echo, but Arme finds him.
And how quickly the tides have turned.
Oh yeah, with Ramses falling like that, and Arme and Somnus getting involved in these big kills. The slight gold difference swings back in LGD's favor.
Now you have to be wondering if how painful that point booster pickup by Ramses was. Instead of having a Linken's in the fight, he would have had it finished. He had the gold when he went to go purchase it. Hopefully gets punished for his greed. As not only just that gold lead swing, you see the experience. It was 2K in advantage for VP. It swings heavily up toward LGD.
Let's see how the gold swings here around these runes. Bounty rune wise, LGD, they've got heroes set up, down, bottom. They're going to be able to get the majority of them. Oh no, wait, it's 2 for 2.
Super 2.
2 for 2. Pasha was able to get both of those.
The bottles sometimes confuse things. But they have their
It was 3 for 1, right? Yeah, it was 3 for 1.
3 for 1, you're right.
Yeah, the bottle confused
I saw an illusion.
you. Yeah, confused me as well. Maybe question myself, but yeah, they manage to get the majority LGD.
Yeah. Now they can go into this Roche Pit. They have their Brew Split. They know that LGD does not have their Tidehunter Ravage or that God Strength, actually.
How long? Yeah, still a bit of time to God Strength.
Yeah.
Can they still try and push VP out of the pit?
Still sitting around the area.
If they could time it right and get him with the stuns.
There's 15 seconds without God Strength, but they have BKB on the
spot. Poking Chalice, he'll jump in to get the vision, stun out to Ramses. Now the Primal Split comes out from VP, and now it becomes a lot harder for LGD to get close to the pit, as Pasha will be able to hold the team away, get that space for Roshan to fall, and Aegis to be claimed by Ramses.
They might look for a fight anyway, though, on LGD, because they know that there's no split available. Chalice is committing forward. They're going to have Ravage, they're going to have God Strength and BKB on the Sven. They want somebody here.
They are committing far. You have to be a little wary of Roger having the Echo Slam available, but Somnus is ready to go in underneath the tower, stuns out from Arme, then the God Strength and Shallow Grave, keeping Roger alive. They'll try and get relevant. It's a 5-man Ravage! Jumps in, Echo Slams out, but he does nothing at all. The BKB's out from Arme. He'll turn over towards Noah. The stone control from X-Nova isn't enough. No one finally uses. They've got the damage. LGD, they get both. As Chalice sees the perfect opportunity. He's not even done yet. Jumps in for another anchor smash. Keeps the pressure on VP as they're pushed back away from the tier 2 tower. And despite getting the Roche, getting the Aegis, they lose the following fight and they'll lose more map control.
It's the little things, right? Chalice just blinking into the pit there initially, giving vision, causing Pasha to kind of be like, oh my god, I actually need to split for this situation. Allows them then afterwards, they know they have the way advantageous team fight versus VP when they don't have split available. Chalice with no fear. He's playing versus that lineup where he's like, they don't really have ways to burst me down as a Tidehunter in this game. With this hood available, he can just freely jump in like that. And yeah, like you said, the beautiful 5-man Ravages we're going to see again here.
I mean, it looks like maybe they'll lose a couple, but indeed, Chalice in the perfect position, even tickling Solo on the edge there. Every single member of VP caught out by that play.
And Pasha, you can tell he was like, I'm not liking this fight too much. He was even starting to TP out. Someone made the call, though, to try to keep it going, and they ended up losing a couple heroes there.
It doesn't get more perfect than that for this Tidehunter. 5K lead off the back of those plays. Roshan gone wrong, but not in the traditional sense. Where VP still managing to be the ones getting the Aegis, it did not matter.
Still gonna have, now they're gonna have Brew Split available again, so like we're seeing, it's gonna be back and forth whenever these long cooldowns are off for VP, them looking to bring the fight. And they're pretty close to that Aghanims on the morph too, so he will also be pretty scary when he gets that. As we see that shift at the 18-minute mark, a 70% chance for that Dota plus 4 VP, now all the way to that 50-50.
Roche is not always the answer. So LGD making that play. Not a play you always see, you know, only so the top of the top teams would make that.
Yeah.
To go in aggressive after the other team gets Roshan and Aegis. Normally it's okay, they've got Aegis, we've got to reset. They're keeping the pressure on, and LGD, they're straight back in, looking for the next fight already.
Going for the big wraparound, but the scan comes out from VP. They think they even got a slight vision of Ame there for a second there when they were trying to get the wrap. So you see LGD, they're trying to get the wraparound, get the back lines. Even though they're playing into the Brew Split there, they're looking for the Earthshaker. They're looking for that Brewmaster. They're trying to catch it.
It's just every time that Ravage is back up, they're instantly looking for action. No slowdown in play from PSG LGD, and this is starting to be the tempo that the draft panel talked about. This is what you expect from this lineup. Gyro, Rubik, and Sven ready to fight more than ever at this 24-minute mark.
And double BKBs at the ready, so they're feeling a lot more careful versus this VP side. VP just, I think with this Aegis, this is like the farming Aegis. Just get the Aghanims on that Morphling so they can start hopping around as that Earthshaker inside of the fight's getting into the back lines onto those supports. But LGD, they're staying in unison. Every single one of them playing around each other, all grouped up and out down bottom as 5. Got about 1 minute and 10 seconds left on that Aegis. As LGD, they want these bounties.
VP want to try and force this fight here. They know the LGD's got the numbers, but they do have that Aegis on Ramses. There's the lead in. X-Over gets the stun. Ame just got Roger's dead. Pasha will get the ult out in time. Will send Ame up into the air. Chalice is able to get in and claim the bouncy route.
You have to back away though, Pasha. That's a fully defensive split. He can't stay there. That's the other thing too, is the Brewmaster. We're talking about, like, sometimes, yeah, we haven't seen it in a while. Versus Gyro and Sven, sure, you can dispel some stuff, but your Brewlings die very quickly to the combo of the Flak plus that cleave coming out from Sven.
And Roger's got to be careful. We're
really
seeing a couple of times where he's the one getting jumped on the front lines. They need that Shaker to jump and go. Without the Shaker, there isn't that instant lockdown. There isn't that initiation really from VP's lineup. They have to make sure that Roger's able to get his spells off.
They're really starting to hemorrhage just a bit too much here, as it's that 7K advantage. And LGD, they're getting all these bounty runes too.
Oh, they are.
There's still one chilling up top.
Climbing.
It's 3 bounty runes for them. The 4th one is still waiting there, so able to keep increasing that lead, and the Aegis will get reclaimed. But I believe that Ags Morphling is online. We'll see what VP is going to be able to make of it.
Let's see if this is what they're missing. The last few fights have been disastrous for VP.
It still feels like they need their BKBs though too. Like, they've got this Ags on the Morphling, which is fantastic, but there's just so much magical damage and control that's really coming out from LGD's side. Fear of what a Rubik really can provide, even though FY hasn't been having like the greatest steals or anything like that, just getting the instant lifts or breaking some Lincolns.
I mean, what are the big steals that FY's looking out for?
Fissure.
Fissure.
Yeah, Fissure's probably the biggest one. Bruce Split, of course, but you're not likely to get down versus Drunken Brawler unless you immediately get the lift up before he, as soon as he gets out, which you can do, but
and by that time the fight's probably over. Yeah. Maybe it helps you chase for the cleanup kills.
Yeah, I would
turn a bad fight even worse for VP. With that chase potential.
Still grouped up though, VP now. Ame shows his face.
He is out on his own. He's gonna go into the trees. We'll go for the TP. Roger.
He's just gonna get stunned up.
He is trapped in there, but VP a little scared. They're aware that there could definitely be quick reactions. PSG are starting to come over, but Ame was still relatively alone. VP just didn't know. They didn't want to make the mistakes they made earlier and try and force a fight straight up. Now they'll go back with the smoke.
They didn't have any information.
They've drawn. It's going to be focused first. Fissure comes out from Roger. Trying to keep Solo safe. They've got to make sure that both Solo and Roger get the chance to
Here's that Axe.
Get their ults out. They'll commit towards Chalice. Chalice has the Ravage. Ready to pop. He's holding on to it for now. Ramses into the Shaker he goes. Chases down X-Nova. They're pushing PSG back up to the high ground, but it's still hard for VP to find the jump that they hope for. As PSG, they know exactly what's waiting for them on the low ground.
Yeah, and the Ags Morphling, it's strong because Ramses is really high level, but you also want your Earthshaker to be high level. You need him to have that max enchant totem for it to really become that super powerhouse. So only 2 points still for Roger, only level 11. He needs to find himself some level so that they can actually start using that power of the enchant totem.
Yeah, they know themselves. VP, they're still not quite ready to take a full 5v5. It's not easy.
Ooh, and look at Ame's pickup here. A little bit, not really super unorthodox, but the Orchid now for that Sven as well. Multiple different ways to catch Ramses. Yep. Ramses gonna be in trouble. Not only just Ramses, Pasha as well. Brewmaster hates playing versus silences.
White. Nice little escape back to base. He's got the stick charges and the heals. He's been buying a very far on the way to make sure that he's not going to get burst.
He's like, I died to that damage over time before, not again.
He knows how much it hurts. But absolutely, you say with that Orchid, there's still a bit of time where Ramses hasn't got that BKB.
Yeah.
He's got to make sure he's got it ready as soon as they'll see that Orchid's out.
A lot of different targets they can go for it. Pasha being one of those main ones, like I was saying, that silence. If he does want to throw it out, a bit too close to the base though, being a little bit reluctant.
VP just trying their best to to split the map up. Now you know that LGD is playing as a unit now.
Roger. Getting stalked here by Ame. We'll be able to back off. So 30 seconds, we're going to have these bounty runes coming out. LGD, they've got creeps hitting the base. They're actually forcing a reaction to the base right now, so they're going to look to make an aggressive play. They're like, all right, Silencer just went top. We can definitely look for a fight right now. With a full butterfly finished up on Somnus. They're jumping for Ramses.
They managed to break the link because they're in with the silence. The global does come out. He did manage to shift before the silence came in. So Ramses has got enough HP to be able to waveform back out of there. Pasha is going to start to fight back with the primal split. Surrounding X-Nova, Somnus with the flak. Will start to kill off the Brewlings very, very quickly. Pasha's got to be careful. Grabbing the challenge onto the backlines. They found Roger. Amazing with the damage. Roger's dead as well as Ramses. There'll be a buyback from Solo. Sorry, Ramses is Roger. It was Ramses and the shaky for me, and now they get Roger. They got both of them. It's a triple buyback from VPs. They'll try and turn.
Oh my God.
But there, I mean, I got baited. I saw a shaker
saw the
die.
shaker.
I was like, Roger's there. I was like, no, hang on. That's Ramses.
He's getting caught off.
Ramses at the start of the fight.
That Orchid, it's really catching him off guard there.
It looked like Ramses was safe for sure. He built up all the HP, but he ends up back in the middle of the fight as the shaker, and he dies straight away.
They're really starting to run away with this one here on PSG LGD. They buy back on X-Nova. They're like, let's just bring the fight to them. They don't have anything available. Roger, sure, he's got Echo Slam,
This is a risky play here from VP. It's not a quick Roche. They're trying. They've used 3 buybacks for this attempt.
Chalice is in immediately.
I don't know if VP can get away with this.
Doesn't look like it. They're jumping forward.
Ramses is trying to fight, but he instantly gets stunned. Always on top.
The Echo.
He whiffs the Echo. He did not get the blink off as VP. They've got to back off.
Oh my, he had it up too. I had him clicked on. It was not canceled. He just didn't get it off there.
Ramses going in again. He has to be careful though when he's the shaker. We saw him get tripped up in that mid lane. And now PSG LGD are holding on to a mighty 12k gold lead.
And that was VP buying back 3 heroes trying to get something, just desperately trying to get anything out of it, and they can't. This Orchid, Ame, purchasing this was just causing so many problems for VP. They're set up here for the fights, but...
And with it, he needs that BKB, but
really
again, it's still back to that point where he's only halfway towards the money. It's going to take a lot more time. We'll see this again from Roger. Nothing cancels this.
No, look, he just echoes the floor. It was still on
cooldown.
It was still on cooldown. Okay.
So maybe it was just still on cooldown from before.
I guess it must have still been for a second. All right, when I clicked, it looked like I must have clicked it a second later.
Because he didn't look at it like anything canceled it. I think maybe just in his mind he felt that the timing was there, and that 15 seconds was still ticking down.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a lot of momentum. Look at this, like Somnus, he's super farmed out. Pretty much all the important heroes on the side of PSG LGD, they have the farm. On VP, they're really starting to fall behind. That mid game, that early game, that dazzle, sure, no one, he's 4-1 and 4, but it's a dazzle now at this point. It's starting to become very hard.
Just finding 3 kills across the map. Solo trying to push out that top lane.
Uh-oh.
I mean, Solo must have known that that was going to end in death. I guess at least trying to use his life to make sure that the lanes are pushed out. There's more kills for LGD. It's only 11 to 10, but just the fact that the kills have meant that much more. The buybacks have heavily set VP behind, and the farm rate of Ame's, Sven, and Somnus' Gyro is just at a rate that's very hard.
Yeah.
It's really to keep up with as a whole, and the difference between the supports are there as well. Space is there, easy Roche, easy Aegis for Somnus.
It's really telltale that VP has only gotten 1 kill in the last 16 minutes. How aggressive and how dominant LGD really has been around this mid game. Look at that one ticker. They've gotten an Ogre Magi kill in the last 16 minutes. Besides that, it's been only LGD just cruising through, finding every single fight that they want. Pretty much right when I had said that I think Brewmaster was looking pretty good and why haven't we seen Brewmaster, it just completely shifted the other way around.
It's a game against a Sven and a Gyro. 2 of the best carries in the game to kill those Brewlings.
Yep.
It's not easy for Pasha.
They've got the BKB now on Ramsey, so he's going to be feeling a lot safer. But there's still so much damage now, and now at this deficit, do they even have the damage to deal with LGD's draft? As the BKBs, like we said, are ready. They've got their Aegises as well. And Chalice now picking up more items too. Has the Mac, going to be going for Greaves too. So a lot of mitigation going to be coming out for PSG LGD. They do have Roger also hitting level 14 now for VP, so in relation to Ramses. He's going to have that max enchant totem. But yeah, double bloodlusted cores on PSG LGD. Two of the best, like you were saying.
I mean, is there a chance for VP that this morph could be the game-winning element? Is the sort of the morph shaker interaction strong enough to win a game when they're 15k down?
They have to get some better forms of initiation. Roger, having such a solid early game, has not been able to find almost anything after that. Just seems like PSG LGD always seems to know where he is in the fights and catching him at the start. It's VP. They will look to set up for bounties. Pasha, though, he's very far up and alone.
He's out of the game immediately, walking to his death.
They want more. But they won't find it.
Just have that BKB Ramses, so a little harder for them to catch out.
They're not really splitting up much versus this Morphling. So when I have seen, oh, next Nova though, they're jumping forward for him.
Gonna try for the quick kill with the waveform, and they have to try to get a bit more. Is he trouble? Roger's gonna buy him some safety as he jumps in with the Echo. Noble popped as well as VP will try and chase for another. They're blocked off Chalice with the Fisher. Very tanky. Tanky enough that they won't be able to commit and stick on him. Chalice is able to walk away. It's a buyback from Pasha. And again, it's just the Ogre dying. They cannot find any of the big kills.
And that was an Echo Slam committed too. And they only get that Ogre. Now a full Aghanim's finished up on the Gyrocopter as well. Ramses. Considering going for something here. There's still the BKBs available though. It's he's just in.
All the big heroes are here for PSG LGD. VP have to hold back. There's no way that it's in their best interest to try and find a fight, and they will back away.
So some of the times when I have seen these Ags Morphlings with the Earthshakers, what ends up happening is one team starts splitting up, and that's where the Morphling really starts picking himself up. Because you get the one-by-one kills constantly, you get these massive amounts of experience. But PSG LGD, look at this, they're all just grouped up. They know how strong they are. They still have their Aegis available too. They're trying not to give VP any little type of breathing room at all.
They're playing phenomenally as a team here.
Oh, is he trapped? Oh, he's gonna be able to move out of that? No. Kind of stuck. He'll get out of it. Chalice.
Oh, Ame.
He's in position.
Chalice again! He's in with a Ravage. They've got the set up. The Grave does come out in time to find some safety for Ramses. He's back into the ball. Will jump away. BKB popped by no one. BKB from Ame also about to wear off. So despite Chalice getting a big jump, this time VP won't have any casualties. They'll get everyone back to safety.
Actually, nobody dies from that. He lands like a Dream Ravage in the backlines, but they're able to disengage.
They've got the items now, VP, having those BKBs. The Linkers and the BKB, of course, on Ramses. They can play their way out of it.
But do they have the damage is the question. They're going to be able to disengage, but will they actually ever be able to look for kills, setting up onto Somnus and onto Ame? It's seeming extremely difficult here, as Chalice always just seems to be in the front lines, not really taking too much damage. And immediately we'll blink away from Ramses. Yeah, they're just so tanky, and they're really all just starting to pick up more and more items. FY, quiet game, but you look at him trickling up on that net worth. He's ahead of Pasha on the Brewmaster. He's got a Hex queued up. We're already talking about the problems for Ramses getting caught by these stuns, by these silences. If they do ever get that, definitely gonna be a really hard game for the Morphling.
Yeah, with the butterflies on both cores as well. Yeah. Ame and Somnus.
Oh, Ame also finishing one up too.
Yeah, he goes for the butterfly.
Selling that Midas. Not wanting to pick up an AC. He just wants to get this instead for his team, as he's gonna be able to have that 1-to-1. No one really gonna be able to bring him down too hard. The enchant totem though from the Morphling, you know, you do get that true strike. Which
right?
That'll be one thing, but
which sort of makes it like, well, why the butterfly? We do see obviously butterflies
it's such a value.
Sometimes.
It's just such a value.
The attack speed.
Yeah.
The edge, a little bit of armor that gives, I guess. And of course, for just everything else that's going to be trying to him in the fight.
Yeah.
The splits, the summons from no one.
Strength heroes, like even like dating back forever, it's always been like, I want to buy a butterfly, but you sometimes you just don't have the slots for it. This time he's feeling super confident. They have a 20k gold lead. VP starting to trickle their way out forward here. What can they find?
Ramses. He's going to try and look for the opening. They get the push on the two, but he's in on the back. Two-man stun. In with the gold strike. Silence is dead. They'll be able to save Pasha for a little bit with that shallow grave, but he's silenced, surrounded by Somnus. Pasha's dead. No one's taken out. Sentry's in position, so they'll kill him off through the Glimmer Cave. As no one bites back. And Ame finds him hiding in the trees. Roger as this is just getting very, very nasty for VP. Every single fight, every single play. I mean, poor old X-Nova, he's taking one for the team this game.
Oh, for sure.
He is the only guy that's died on LGD's lineup, it feels like, in the last 20 minutes, right?
He is the only one who's died in the last 20 minutes. Yep, 3 deaths for the Ogre, unable to find any kills.
All working to plan. The Ogre Magi strats are real here. And it's absolutely working for LGD.
Hey, he's doing his job. He's bloodlusting
really
in the fights, and then he dies. They're like, all right, X-Nova, great job. Yes, yeah, they're really starting to, I mean, they have been running away with this one for about 20 minutes now. VP unable to really find any breathing room as Ramses. Stepping up, his BKB just comes back up.
Whoa. Just gotta be careful.
That was a little scary.
It's gotta feel rough for VP. I mean, they've only killed the Ogre. They cannot kill anyone else, it seems, on PSG LGD's team.
Oh, look at this, too. A bit of a, quick easy kill there from a bit of an unorthodox build. Another Basher being built up on a gyrocopter after the Aghanims. So some more control for that Morphling.
I mean,
they're probably feeling themselves.
They're feeling it now, PSG
Definitely.
LGD, they know. 40 minutes in, 27k advantage, 25's coming out as well. Can VP swing this game around? They're running a lineup that has that Brew off lane, this Dazzle mid. I feel like sort of these heroes, their time in the game, it's kind of past.
It passed
it's
a long time
all on
ago.
the Morphling.
Yeah.
It's all on Ramses.
It's a full 4 Protect 1 that in the mid game got completely outran here by LGD.
And
they've lost their timings.
I mean, if they can hold and keep it up, is there not going to be a point of the game where Ramses is like, well, I need to start building right click and screw the Shaker. I've got to become the Jara.
He has to. I mean, he has to get the Manta as well, though. That's the problem. Is that these silences and this control is just too much.
He's not investing yet. So do you think he's thinking, well, let's get a right click. Let's get some damage items.
But what would he get? That's the one thing I'm trying to think. What's the solution? What right click item?
Get Rapier, become Gyro, bam.
Nah. Still very difficult. They're so tanky, right? Even then.
You've got the Grave. You'll always get the hits off.
Got the Grave, yeah, that's true.
You'll always get the hits off. I think he's thinking about it. He's still not spending, maybe because he wants both and buyback.
I do believe
I know
so,
he's got the recipe anyway, so he is going to continue with the safety route, get that Manta done, and make sure he's got the money for, he's just 200 gold short. So.
Oh, Courier.
Should have the, oh no, that's his Manta.
That's the Manta.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got buyback, but he is going to be short of that Manta style for 3 minutes.
And they've already been unable to really kill anybody besides the Ogre, like you said. Aditi route.
All right. I think PSG LGD is gearing up for the finishing blow to VP in this game 1.
They have a Hex on the Rubik as well, like I was mentioning. So those instant disables, we're going to have to watch Ramses if he's going to be able to get that BKB off before he gets caught. Pasha as well as Roger, both playing on the left side there. Ame already pops the God Strength, ready to go.
And he's jumping in. Solo's dead. Ravage is out. It's going to catch up to Pasha, who's held at the back. Silence to make sure that Pasha cannot get in. Roger, he's trying to poke from the backsides with the Fisher, but LGD just pushing in, taking the range racks fortification. It's only going to last so long as they'll wait it out. LGD finish off the entirety of the mid lane of Rax. Ramses is going to look for the jump forward. He's trying for X-Nova. Poor old X-Nova. But this time
they gave him the cheese.
They gave him the cheese. They gave him the cheese. X-Nova will be able to stay alive with the boys this time. He's not dying today.
That was one of the cheeses, I believe, because they still have the second one, so yeah. And now a full refresher as well. I think they had a refresher shard as well, right? I think they must have used it before.
X-Nova. He had the cheese. They prepared him. They prepared him for this push. They made sure he took his dinner with him. As now they can't even kill the Ogre.
No, they. Now without the cheese. Maybe they'll give him another one. Do they give him the next cheese? No, they're going to keep FY.
But the mentality now, they've tried to kill the Ogre. They can't even kill the Ogre. As this lead just continues to go. And I feel that we've seen VP in this situation quite a few times in the group stage. And game 2 hasn't gone a lot better after game 1's been this rough. A lot of the games in the group stage where VP did lose, it was very one-sided, very stompy in this game. For the 20 minutes onwards, it has been. Chalice is in. Ravage catches onto Solo and Ramses. Ramses, he's trying to play his way up back into the Shaker. Will be able to get the 3-man Fisher and jump away. They're kiting up LGD for now. X-Nova steps forward, throws out a fire blast, retrieves the pop. They're back onto the structures. Another tower taken. This push isn't going anywhere. LGD making themselves feel at home inside the base. There's the second Ravage onto Ramses. Burst down, X-Nova, he's going to get the kill. A beautiful comeback story from the Ogre this game. From dying every team fight to taking out their carry. As the racks are down,
that's got to
GG well play. It's a win for LGD, it's a win for Ogre Magi. As VP, can they come back in game 2? I don't know if they can. This has been less than ideal for them to open up on the main stage, but for PSG LGD in front of the home crowd, this couldn't have gone any better.
No, it seemed like these first 18 minutes or so, VP running away with it perfectly. They have this initiation coming from Pasha every single time. They're always taking the fights on their own accord. Everything's going well, you know, those first 10 kills, then LGD, they get the Blink Dagger on Chalice, and the whole game explodes and turns around. They fully claim the whole map control. They take several fights in a row that are extremely dominant in their favor, and VP, they hit a brick wall. All they can kill is an Ogre.
All they could kill. Poor old X-Nova. The X-Nova Magi coming into play, though, at the end with that cheese and killing Ramses. You know, he's going to feel very happy after that, as PSG LGD take game 1, leading this series for now. But there we have it. A beautiful victory for LGD, and VP, they've got some picking themselves up to do after that game.
There we go then. Game number 1 in the bag, and it's exactly the same story as we had in 2018. This, of course, a matchup that we saw in exactly the same round this time last year. No change whatsoever as far as the result of game number 1 is concerned. We're going to get some thoughts from our panel in just a moment, but I think our draft panel are ready to give you some of their thoughts as well. So let's head over there and find out from our 3 men who predicted rightly or wrongly.
I don't really know if we gave a hard prediction, but let's just
pretend. We were right.
No,
we were right.
We were right. Thank you, Purge. Yep. And I think it was because this Dazzle thing was unexpected. They ended up giving it to no one. Virtus Pro initially it looked strong, but then it kind of started faltering.
Yeah, I mean, it's typically a support, but lately, at various times, has been a core. And what was cool about the VP draft is it allowed them to make the Brewmaster pick make more sense. Because Brew splits into 3 units, the Shadow Wave is going to be high leveled because he was a core. And that meant that they could do way more mid-game damage. So they basically surprised their opponents with sort of a cheese pick. And then they had a much stronger mid-game than their opponents expected.
Yeah, they got a lot of value out of the Dazzle mid, too. We've seen Somnus play a lot of matchups with this Gyrocopter, and the Dazzle he lost his lane. I think for the first time this tournament, he lost his lane really hard. I don't remember seeing him losing it that hard. I think no one was ahead by 2,500 net worth over the Gyro, I believe, at minute 15. But then you get 1 or 2 good team fights. We run into the problems with VP's lineup where we talked about the big cooldowns. If they fail one time, there's an Echo Slam that whiffs, or the Brewmaster split after they take Aegis is on cooldown, and you know, LGD just run in and fight into Aegis and win the fight.
Yeah, it was just like 2 good fights by LGD. They got the Morphling kill in the jungle at that one point, and they all end on an Ogre, and that was all they got. And at that point, they're just going to get outscaled. Yep.
Yeah, they had tried even to finish off that Ogre at the end, and they were confident. They're like, I don't need a cheese. Give it to my Ogre. X-Nova, give him some fantasy points on the board. So that concludes game 1 of the International main event. What a way to start it.
Thanks very much, gents. Yeah, we're going to get some more words from Lacoste, Lyrical, and Trent alongside as well. Gents, enjoy that?
Yeah, well, do you think they're ever going to go back to them if they're wrong? I feel like...
we don't go back to wrong people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not how it works.
That's the place to
for
be.
Us all.
Yeah, you get to look good over there, you know? You make a mistake, they just forget
But
about
it's okay, because we don't have to make any predictions whatsoever. We can
Oh,
just have
that's
fun
the real
over here. This is the fun place right now.
Yeah, we're the fun. If we were smart, we would be on that panel,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could look at it like
If we're not fun, do we need to find us a 3rd job? Maybe observing will do.
Is that easy?
Oh.
It looks difficult to me.
It's a lot of pressure, too.
Is it?
Speaking of pressure.
Yes.
Oh, you see that one?
Segway.
That's
on
what we
the
do in this
internal
panel.
Segway.
He doesn't want to observe, he wants to host. I see
right.
how it is. Okay.
No, to me, it was like that crazy moment. Like, VP so far ahead early on. And the other big thing about that game was the Morphling Earthshaker. That combinations looked brutal.
Yeah.
And it just didn't end up working out for him. I feel like the nerves got to him a little bit on the big stage.
You think
I'm not
so?
sure.
You think nerves? I just felt like maybe they needed to be
nerfs, maybe nerfs.
All right. The nerfs.
That's what I was trying to say.
It just felt like maybe they needed a bit further ahead. Get ahead and get further ahead. I don't know. Let's check in with our wonderful Casey, who is out roaming the halls as ever, interviewing fans and generally having fun.
How you doing, Red Eye? I'm doing good. We are here interviewing fans here live in the crowd. Casey, pretty good game one, yeah?
That was an awesome game one. I think TI9's off to a pretty good start.
As do I, but let's hear about what our fans think. First things first, I found this young man walking around. What's your name, sir?
My name is Jake.
Jake, you're live streaming right now. I don't know if you guys can see this, but he is actually in real lifing at the moment with his own chat. This is some Inception stuff.
That's right. I'm here covering TI from the event floor because I'm not going to stream the actual games going on.
We are going to sue you, though.
Yeah, I'm going to put the camera down now.
Great. Why are you here? Anyone you want to talk to? Anyone you want to support? Put the board.
Okay. Honestly, I'm here for Alliance and EG. Got some friends on each team, and I wish Bulldog was here. I think he's hiding somewhere, but maybe next time. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Probably not, though. Thank you very much, my friend. Anything you'd like to say to your fans that are watching?
Oh, wait, these guys, wait, my fans or your fans?
All right, thanks a lot, boss. All right, you were great.
We're talking to all the fans here, and we found somebody who this is their first TI that they've ever attended. Watch out, Casey. My name is Casey. Nina?
原野
你喜欢哪个队?
LGD
I asked him what team was his favorite, LGD, and what do you think of TI so far? TI9?
现在你什么想的？那个非常的让人兴奋，老杨一定是不可战胜。
Sir Action selects Boo How.
No Boo How.
Sir Action selects Boo Shiwan.
喜欢。
End the segment, Casey. Thank you very much. What the heck's wrong with you?
Shishi. I'll give you, I'm going to ask you one more time because I want you to be super excited. Nishiwa Nagadoi.
LGD.
Yes. Great. LGD, lots of fans in the crowd, and you are still watching your own feed.
I just subscribed to him.
Did you?
No, I did not. Thanks.
He subscribed to me. He can't be subscribed to everyone out there. Thank you very much, Casey, and Sir Action Slacks out there enjoying themselves, but fans also enjoying themselves. Anyone here for their first TI? Anyone?
I mean, if
technically
playing a
not, because
TI...
you've actually played here. That doesn't count, Lacoste. You've been to 3.
Anyone else here played a TI? I don't think so.
Not yet.
Hey, the Synderen has. On the other, it's got a good win rate, by the way.
Only 4? That's a good number.
Good win rate. Yeah, Tsunami here, enjoying his first.
I'm having a ball.
Having fun?
I was obviously very skeptical, like, oh, you go to a China TI, the crowd, will it be as emotional and everything? Yep. My ears are ringing already after day one.
Dude, it was freaking loud.
I
honestly, the last time I remember being kind of like, oh my God, can you guys keep it down? Was Manila Major.
Yeah.
Like, those guys were insanely loud. These guys are on a par. Seriously, it's been a great time. Gents, let's move towards our second game. Obviously, we can wrap up on the first one as well. Trent, what do you make of Virtus Pro? Because, like I said, I ended that bit before we spoke to Casey. It's like, I felt like maybe they needed to be a bit further ahead.
It's a strat they've run before, this mid-dazzle, and it often looks fairly similar. They get very far ahead, and you're like, oh, this is rolling really well for them, but the problem is it's very temperamental.
It's artificial, isn't it?
You make one mistake, it's over. Right? And that happened, it was kind of like 2 mistakes first. Like the push gets denied, and then you kill the Morphling once, and you just feel super good on the side of LGD.
The strategy is good if you're snowballing, because you have Dazzle, who's going to get this Necrobook level 1, then he's going to get Guardian Greaves. But you're playing against Sven, who's one of the better heroes against Brew and the Necrobook. He just deletes both of these heroes instantly, even after the split.
And to me, it was like that moment, too, where you don't necessarily want to pick the strats that are on such a tight timing. Like, the cores from LGD, I think eventually we're always going to be able to catch up in that game once they found and killed the Morphling.
Well, so that's why you got to be fast.
Exactly, and that's the problem. I think playing on a timer
just
in this environment... Play faster. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lacoste gets it.
But PSG LGD, though. I mean, that's a great start out of they needed that one in a way, didn't they, Lyrical? Because they don't want the crowd on their back, and I know they probably wouldn't have them on their back, but they'd be nervous. They'd be more nervous if they're 1-0 down.
They'd be on their back.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to be nice, man.
No, seriously. But that's the thing about these fans. They're the most passionate, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing in the C region, right? You feel that energy, and then the second you make a mistake, the second you lose one game, it is brutal.
Yeah.
They turn on you very quickly.
I think that
it sounds like you have some expert knowledge here, Trent, from hockey.
Well, I have people turn on me all the time. It's
right.
fine.
I remember you last year in the jersey.
Exactly.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
They thought I was so nice.
Well, I think you kind of brought it on yourself with the wrong jersey.
That's true.
And that's where you went with them. No bad jerseys this year.
No, I'm good.
Not a lot of hockey fans in China?
No.
Okay.
All right. Surprising.
Weird.
Who knew? As we head into this the second game, Lacoste, what do you want to see different from Virtus Pro? Because they have messed around quite a lot with heroes in the group stages. They played the third most heroes, actually, during the group stage.
I want to see some more late game-oriented lineups because
something that can
all
combat
the games
PSG.
that they lose, they GG out before 50-minute mark. Only one was after. They're the team that is going to call an early GG, just focus on their next game. And
That said, they hung in there on game one, though. They were like 20, 30K behind at some point, and they hung on.
For a moment, I thought that they were going to call GG way earlier because that's how they are. They just focus on the next one.
Yeah, okay.
I kind of like the idea of getting more aggro early. I think you need to have that late game insurance, but like you got to go back to the core of what made this team great. And to me, at least, it felt like it was always getting in somebody's face. Spirit Breaker, Disruptor, just run at people. You know, make them feel uncomfortable.
More CIS-style Dota.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard now, though. I feel like the offlaner is one of the heroes that typically helps facilitate that, and the offlane pool is awful right now. You play Ogre or Ench, or you kind of do not. I mean, Chao did a pretty good job of being
also
aggressive,
same for everyone, though, Trent.
I know.
Another
That's why
teams
it's
are
hard for
making
Virtus Pro.
But other teams are making it work fine.
Well, you need other people to step up then.
Yeah.
So you're gonna.
So
I just don't think Pasha can really be the one to lead it.
We need the darks here. That's what you're telling me.
Maybe. I don't know about that though.
I think that as much as I was saying, it's either that or like the Ursa. The Ursa was another one for them that was really cool because you could start the early tempo of taking down Roche and just shut down the map. So if they went for something like that, I'd be pretty happy about it. Even though it's a hero that hasn't been picked all that often, I like the idea of it. Just for their tempo.
We've got a couple of minutes, obviously, before the teams come back out there, having their rest, having their break, and then we'll get in towards the draft. We'll go back to our draft panel, of course. It gives us a little bit of time to talk about group stages a little bit more, because we didn't really cover it massively earlier on. But for those joining us right now, and I know a lot of new people do join us at this point in the international. The group stages were pretty sexy.
Yeah, they really were. Really nice moments throughout the group stage. If I had to pick the best one, I would say probably Newbie, their performance throughout the group stage. They could have won. Yeah, they could have won. Yeah, the performance of Team Newbie, who is pretty much a newly formed team. They could have won 2-0. I think against Team Secret, it's just that some late game decisions were not there. Also, their game against Alliance, where they had the Anti-Mage fighting against Mega Creeps with the Divine Rapier. So some of these things get stuck in your head.
They were great, weren't they? Absolutely great. Also, I just want to throw it out there. The Rampages.
Ooh.
Now, I'm a sucker for the Rampages.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There was a wee double Rampage in that game as well, or he was chasing it, and they were, buying back. I get it. But at the same time, there was also a 1v5 Rampage in there.
Yeah,
from a certain
fresh.
Arteezy, which I thought was one of the best we've seen, because it was pretty leery, really.
And on a lifestealer, you don't normally see that.
Yeah. Sameo actually told me last night, I spoke to him a little bit, and he was like, we were telling him, get back. Like, just get back, what are you doing? Like, don't go deep. And he was having none of it. As the teams return to the center of the Mercedes-Benz Arena here in Shanghai, if you're just joining us, welcome to live coverage of the greatest Dota 2 show on earth. It is the International 2019. Game number 1 went the way of PSG LGD against Virtus Pro. It is a repeat of the quarterfinal upper bracket that we had at TI9 last year in Canada. And the same result from game number 1 as well. Is that going to be tricky a little bit for Virtus Pro? They're just going to be like, oh God, here we go again.
I think that it might be, honestly. This is a team that, like we talked about at the very opening panel.
They have those bogeys, don't they? The EG thing they had before where they couldn't get over it, they just kept losing.
And so they're like a victim of their own success. And it's a sort of, you compare this to a team like Alliance, right? Like heartbreaking losses, normally you end up having a lot of trouble dealing with them. Alliance, they're used to heartbreaking losses this year. And so they've gotten a lot of practice against it. Virtus Pro, not so much. Only at TI.
I think teams, though.
You're getting quite bro. I think the heads are having an effect on us, right? The Jakiro head on you, we have to trade them so it works the other way around.
You can't split Jakiro's head.
That's true.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
But my point with that was that they've gotten really, really good at dealing with it, and now they're one of the best teams at coming back after a loss. Virtus Pro, this is going to be the testing ground for them. Did they learn from last year?
Well, and also, we've seen it in the groups. They were under pressure. Day 1, under pressure. Day 2, under pressure. Day 3, under pressure. All right, day 4, guys, we've got to qualify for them, and they did it.
They love nothing more than shutting up people who are talking about them, right? That is Virtus Pro's
we don't
favorite thing.
play enough heroes.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just play every hero, then pick every hero.
Exactly.
We don't ban properly. Oh, let's just ban everything from it. We can't win from behind. Oh, we win from behind.
I like what they did here. They brought 2 coaches, so they can blame 2 people if something goes wrong. So they actually have Arzik, who's their old coach, and they have a new guy from Gambit.
Yeah.
Inside the mind
Do they
of
just
Lacoste.
flip a coin if they get knocked out? All right,
Who do we blame?
Who's getting cut? All right.
More options for blame. I like it. PSG, obviously, quite calm right now, Lyrical. Come back out. I know it's home crowd and the pressure's still there, but they coped perfectly well with it game 1. No reason to suspect they wouldn't in game 2.
No, definitely. I think that this is a team that that understands the feeling of loss, but also how to come back from it. And the biggest issue would maybe be coming back from a win. That's not as hard. That's a lot more simple to do.
Yeah, definitely easy coming back
from a win.
Exactly, right?
Is that a thing?
How do we do that again?
I'm sure that's a thing.
No, it's not. But like, just run the same draft. Let's run it back. Let's see what they do. If I'm them right now, the other thing about it is that like their draft worked exactly how they thought it would. I think that they were ready for that early aggression and then sort of absorbed it, and now we're going to come back again and do the exact same thing.
It's also what they've shown in the past, right? I mean, they just Tidehunter again, right? Gyrocopter again. Nothing too surprising there. So stick with what works.
LGD played really well around the timings of these big ulti cooldowns. The Silencer ulti, the Brewmaster, one of them was on a cooldown. They go into Roche, but they take objectives, and the second Roche was crucial. 3 buybacks. This is what VP loves to do, especially when they have a Silencer. Solo was the guy who invented it. Buyback, use global silence, go in, bait some BKBs. But this game, it did not happen. And after the second Roche, it was just everything fell apart because they didn't get the buyback to get Aegis and the cheese, and they didn't get any of those.
Yeah, tough game all round. They've definitely got to switch things up in this second game as we head towards the draft, obviously, momentarily. I want to talk about Arme. Doesn't always get the applauded. We talk about maybe a lot. We talk about Rams and everything. But Arme had an amazing group stage. He had the least amount of deaths of any player in the group stage, and it was by quite a distance as well. Just 26 deaths in the whole of the group stage.
He had a lot to prove, I think. A lot of people were questioning last year, obviously, in the grand finals. There were a lot of people that were blaming him, I think unfairly so. And in the end, he's coming out here showing, I still got what it takes. There's a reason that people emulate my style the world over, and he's owning with it. So, yeah, I'm super big Ame fan. I think that just needs to keep doing what he's doing, definitely.
He has the least deaths because he played Faceless Void 5 times, so you can time walk. And we shouldn't take that into consideration.
You're not supposed to reveal the inner secrets of how and why, Lacoste. What are you, some sort of analyst?
Nah, I'm just here to have fun.
You're on the wrong panel right now, buddy. Wait until later. Come out with the analysty things later.
We can promote them.
Promote? Is that a promotion?
I think so.
Oh.
Promotion
well,
working
for the
with
host,
these guys?
Yeah.
It's a promotion for the analysts. For the host, though, the desk gets much smaller. You know,
Right.
first TI, very little.
Well, we don't
tiny
want to
desk.
get too carried away.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
big head kind of a deal.
He had a good group stage and some multicast stuff. We don't want to get too big.
I'm
Break
jealous
him
of the
gently.
beard, though. I think we all are.
About it,
He's just the silverback. You know?
He's going to bring attention to it.
Wait, what's worse, gray hair or the ginger hair on the beard?
Oh, definitely the ginger. Definitely the ginger.
Is it really?
He's distinguished.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah.
Looks good. You're very clean shaven. I like that.
Oh,
We've stuck together.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
It's like,
Try and go for that. It doesn't look good.
Is it like a year on and you're just like, I've got something there?
I'm starting Movember, actually, about 3 weeks ago.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Right, we're gonna have fun all the way through the international 2019. We hope you enjoy our panels, but the more serious stuff, the more analytical stuff, they are on the panel for game number 2.
PSG LGD versus Virtus Pro.
That's right, Red Eye.
2.
That's right, Red Eye. Mom said it's my turn on the draft panel, and we're going to take it away. Brewmaster, one of the unpicked heroes previously. VP brings it out. Now, in a main stage event, doesn't really pan out for them very well. What do you think was the issue, Purge?
It just came down to LGD playing extremely well. They knew what their opponents had. There was a lot of good kills that VP secured, but they have to... they just have to like delay until the late game, because at some point the Sven was amazing in that match, like the other guys talked about, like the Sven cleave against the Necro spawns, and especially the Sven cleave against the Brew split. Like his Brew split, he was aiming for this like mid-game timing. He bought Vlad's, he bought a medallion, I think. He didn't even go for, I don't think, Blink Dagger. And at some point, once his Brew splits gets cleared, it's like all of VP's oomph just gets deleted from the fight.
I mean, to add to that, I just want to point out that when your chair came up, I was kind of expecting, there's like this expectancy that, oh, okay, now he's going to be in the same height as the others.
You guys dwarf me in both Dota knowledge and height, but LGD and VP dwarf us in both.
That's true. On this panel, Dota knowledge is directly proportional to height.
Is it really?
Oh, okay. Yes. So right now the table knows
what do you
about as much.
You like 50% of us, or?
That would be generous at best.
So the table is like 4K.
This is a legend era, a legend tier desk, and you guys are immortal tier players, of course. And PSG LGD picking out one of the most popular supports. Oh, we're just rolling right through this. And they take one of Virtus Pro's supports. They take the Shadow Demon, VP's most picked hero of the group stage.
It's kind of both teams. I mean, almost every single lineup is happy with the Shadow Demon. Leshrac is banned in the first phase, so LGD can't grab that as their quick one too. And Gyro also being gone means they got to go with something new.
Yeah. We had a game with VP in the group stage. They played Roger on the Elder Titan. He was kind of a sponge in that game. He died countless times, it felt like, but VP still ended up grabbing the win. I think that was against Fnatic game 1. One of the really important wins that got them to this stage. So probably going back to that because they felt like, okay, if we can have a game where Roger is not shining on the Elder Titan and we can still win, this might be something to revisit, and stealing the Gyro away is obviously great. I thought maybe we were going to see a Mirana from LGD in this slot with the Shadow Demon, but I don't know how much they've even played it here. It's been a hero mainly other teams have been favoring as an overall thing.
FY definitely had a breakout performance on it in the group stage, but it hasn't been necessarily one of their comfort heroes.
The Tide pick, we saw it last game. I thought it was extremely effective, especially against the Dazzle strat. Like, how disrupting it is to know that, like, almost everybody that's within cast range is going to get stunned if they don't have BKBs active. It really was a big deal multiple times. Chalice's ultimates were effective consistently. He was like the stun follow-up with his carry, and they know that they're going to have a decent laning stage because Tide can lane against a variety of heroes and can transition well.
They use Tide for something that very few heroes can perform in the game right now, which is they use him as a wall. So if VP want to push towers, they plant Chalice there as just a problem. Yeah, and when it comes to Roche, right, VP were trying to Roche, and Chalice would just blink in, anchor smash, and run out. Get information, buy time, outlast cooldowns, and then they could fight. So they're very conscious about how to use Tide in this way, and because of that, I think it would be really cool to see VP grab something that stops Tide in his tracks. Grab a break, or grab something like Disruptor, who can catch him in Static Storm, so he's like consistently silenced throughout the kill. And they can get something going, but of course they are playing into a save.
So if he is aggressive in those push moments, they can actually have a way to turn that into a team fight for VP's favor?
Especially at Roche, right? If you have the Disruptor and the Tide blinks in, and that's how you try to counter Roche fights, you can just Static Storm him in the pit and Kinetic Field him and get a fight going where Ravage is not a factor. But of course in this game there is the Shadow Demon save you have to work around, so it's definitely not easy whatsoever, but they need to not let Chalice have this high of an impact in the game, I feel, and I think that's why LGD rate this hero so highly. There's two heroes for me that Chalice stands out on right now. One of them is the Enchantress that got banned, also huge Chalice hero last TI, coincidentally, and the Tide Hunter. So, if VP have to ban all these other heroes, Chalice will get one of those too every time. It'd just be cool to see him forced into another role, or another hero.
So we have one potential solution to make a Tide Hunter scared. We have the potential for an instant Hex on the field now. Lion selected by VP. This is one of the solutions to maybe make sure that whenever you're getting initiated on by LGD, you have some options to make sure that your entire team is not getting ravaged.
Yep.
It can be iffy though, because Chalice has been standing in really good positions consistently. Like high grounds, trees, always ready to hit the back line and follow up perfectly. So I feel like if he places his Ravage really well, especially against like an Elder Titan in a line, it's iffy, because a lot of times Elder Titan's going to be channeling his Echo Stomp. If that gets interrupted, like that 4-position support, useless basically. He can throw out his Earth Splitter, but I just feel like Tide, the way that LGD uses it, they're very good at finding good team fights and ravaging at the right time. Other teams that pick Tide, if they can't take good fights, it's never going to look like a good hero, but LGD really makes it shine. So I'm a little unsure about the support duo so far.
Well, do you think it's better than the Silencer that they first faced last game?
Yes, because that goes in the same problem. If it's harder for you to take team fights against your opponent, then Global Silence is not going to feel good either. So it's one of those team fight advantages that VP's just going to have to play against.
And again, it's comfort. VP had a great game with Solo and Light. That was actually the same game. Elder Titan had a lot of deaths, and Solo ended up being the position 4 and had a huge impact on that win. The difference being, though, that in that game, VP specifically counterpicked a core with the Lion. That was a first phase Storm from Fnatic in that game. This time around, Lion isn't really particularly good against any of these two heroes. The Hex is all right against Tide because it's a 0 damage stun, so you don't proc Kraken, but against Shadow Demon, I'm pretty happy to play against Lion. You have the save against both of his stuns, and now the Kunkka as well can be used to make heroes survive this possible burst that Lion can provide. And
that's a good point, and I think that's basically what VP grabbed the Lion for, because it combos well with Elder Titan. Elder Titan does the magic resistance reduction. Lion Finger and Stun is going to feel a lot stronger, even if he's not very farmed on the backline. So, like you said, the Kunkka boat's going to delay damage they take. The disruption will potentially stop that burst, but if not for the boat rum, yeah, it looks like they have a burst damage lineup building up so far.
Pangolier.
Okay, here's their team fight hero, right?
Yeah.
Lane-wise, it's not the strongest hero, but if he has a good laning stage, you can cascade in some damage items. Your Rolling Boulder is one of the strongest teamfight ultimates in the game because it just causes disruption against heroes like Shadow Demon or even Kunkka. Just keep interrupting them with stuns and let your team do the damage.
And it's sort of an equivalent for the Tidehunter on this VP draft that you need someone who can be okay soaking up damage. And if you get a good shield crash proc, you will have plenty of damage reduction from his second spell.
Yep, and this is his first skill, or Swashbuckle. You can move, but do a bunch of little slashes. If you build the right items, you can do a ton of damage with it. But the big one is his ultimate here. Turns into a ball, bounces around, does tons of stun disruption. People are just... It's very difficult to fight into Pangolier if he gets his ulti off.
And look who decides to show up.
There we go. The one concern I have with this Pangolier pick is that I think when LGD are showing both Tide and Kunkka, these heroes, there should be some overlap between what heroes are good against these two in the game and in lane, right?
Is that because they're similar?
Yeah, they're both melee strength heroes, right? And you know the Tide is going on Chalice. You know the Kunkka is going on Maybe, unless they pull some complete curveball and put it safe lane or
support maybe.
Yep.
Well, the thing
is, true. It could have been a 4. That's a really good point. At the time,
at the time, yes.
At the time, Kunkka would have been a 4 with Shadow Demon, and LGD would play that. That's a really good point. Because I was already thinking, okay, how can LGD or how can VP try to get a similar start to before, where they punish Somnus in mid, get a good counter matchup, and try to go from there. And I don't think Pangolier wins against Kunkka.
No.
I think if at best it's a draw. Like that's got to be the best possible outcome. And Gyro against Kunkka, I think that's also kind of a draw. So.
So at this point, it's all but confirmed that FY is most likely going to be on the Mirana, X-Nova on the Shadow Demon, Chalice on the Tidehunter. Now we just need to see how LGD decide to rearrange their mid and carry roles. VP's obviously expecting this to be a mid Kunkka as they ban out the Faceless Void.
Yep.
That was a hero that Ame was using effectively. It's very good with Mirana as well. Chronosphere, you get a guaranteed 5-second arrow. Basically means every time your Chronosphere is off cooldown, you're going to kill somebody. And because VP doesn't have any defensive saves right now, other than like Elder Titan hitting a backline or Pangolier doing the same thing, it could be very dangerous when they already have a team fight advantage. Because they have very good heroes for forcing their opponents to stick around or somebody to get left behind and die with the X. So VP's got to have maybe mobile heroes, try to pick fights in a safe way, or they could grab a save, but most of the good ones are gone.
Is there any reason you wouldn't pick Sven right now, again?
On LGD side?
Yeah.
It depends on if you want a long fight or a short fight, I think. The way that Kunkkas choose to build, like if he goes for a Radiance sort of build, then maybe you want a long extended fight and you go for something that, I don't know, maybe like a Leshrac. But they want to go fast. They want to go real fast. Phantom Assassin picked up as the core role for LGD.
I like that a lot better because it's a little bit more bursty. He's going to hit the back line, be able to kill a line really easily, Elder Titan very easily once he gets BKB. And he can also jump around to dodge things like Rolling Boulder. Sven would have had a disadvantage in the early game pre-BKB against that.
The thing is that both those heroes will have to be very, very wary of the disarm from Pangolier.
It's true.
So,
shot. One of Phantom Assassin's biggest weaknesses is the laning stage. Yep. She has a lot of weaknesses against a lot of heroes in lanes, but they're probably expecting this to be an offlane Pangolier who's also not a strong laner, so because of that they can get away with this. But VP could put this Pangolier on no one. He's a very adept Pangolier mid player, and they could pick the final hero for Pasha, who can defeat this PA in lane and be good in the game. I kind of like the look of maybe Doom. You could Doom out the Tide. You're you're pretty good against PA in lane. You buy a chainmail, or maybe you're lucky and you devour an armor creep, and you can play that lane together with either Elder Titan or Lion, and just have that high impact later on in the game.
I like that idea. Maybe they want another tanky stunner hero potentially that's going to lane well against the PA. Because right now with the things like having X Torrent into Arrow, for example, it's tons of stun duration. Having a more tanky hero might really help out against that kind of a combo, because I've seen a lot of games where Mirana just wins the laning stage because they're very good at executing the chain stun combos, and there's not much you can do about it.
Oh, it's a mid gyro.
Vintage pick.
So this is something similar. I don't remember what team did it, but they picked a PL with the purpose of blocking arrows with the illusions. I think TB can do the same thing with Conjure Image. It's going to give them the protection against the Mirana arrow combos because you can just use your illusion to block. I think that's what they're going for here, while it also being an okay carry.
It's a high armor hero against PA as well. It's one of the carries that PA has the hardest time against simply because she can't burst that hero. It just tanks too much of the damage when it gets its first major item up. And yeah, it's a Ramses special. So.
And PA's BKB is going to be whittling down to 5 seconds extremely quickly. You're going to have to be dealing with a Lion, you're going to have to be dealing with Reflection, Elder Titan, all that stuff. If she gets an early BKB and they don't manage to wrap the game up early, that could be devastating for LGD.
It could, and it kind of depends on how well Terrorblade does. There's a lot of stuns on the enemy team, so if he's not super far ahead, he could definitely get bursted with Chain stuns.
Well, let's just see what one of the VP coaches have to say about his draft. We've got Casey speaking to our Zeke.
Yeah, that's right. We're here to just get a little bit more of an idea of how you're feeling about the draft. Are you feeling confident after this draft, and how does that compare to how you felt after game 1?
Of course. Did you see Ramses playing TB? We're super confident. We call it Papochka na TB.
Okay. Now, what about how you feel about your confidence level winning game 2? 100%?
More than 100%.
More than 100%.
Yeah.
This is also the first time for TI that coaches are able to sit and listen to the in-game chatter and the conversation of your players. What has that been like for you, and how has it helped you as a coach?
I'm super excited that they invented it, that we can listen to it. Super excited, and after the game, me and the second coach, we can tell the team what they can do better about communications and stuff. It's really good.
It helps the overall communication of the team.
Yeah.
All right, well, best of luck to you, and can't wait to see how it turns out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Fogged, back to you and Owen.
Thank you very much, Casey. Yeah, it should be an exciting game too. Great to see the confidence there from RZ coming into this. He truly believes in the Ramses Terrorblade, and as he pointed out in the past, there's very good reason to believe in it, right? This, back in the day, was the hero that Ramses would just insta-win games. Teams were first phase banning the Terrorblade. It's a bit of a different meta, a bit of a different time. Does it still have the power, and especially against this lineup, to get VP that win?
Whew, not too sure. They have a lot of different solutions for it, though. The high armor, though, on Ramses, on that Terrorblade, definitely very good pick there versus the PA, as well as versus that Titan or the Anchor Smash is still going to be annoying because you reduce a lot of that damage, but you won't take as much, at least, from it. So that's going to be a neat one, and they should feel pretty confident, too, right? Ramses, they've won how many majors based on the back of Terrorblades and stuff like that, so... We're going to see how it plays out here, too, because they do pick up Pango as well, which is a little concern for me.
Okay.
Having that hero, giving PA what could potentially be a very strong lane, could be one of the things that I'm a little concerned for them there.
And there is going to be some struggle for the Terrorblade early on, right, surely? I mean, I'm seeing here as like the Shadow Demon, the Mirage. There is this magical burst that a Terrorblade in the early portions of a game is very vulnerable to.
And look at the way that they're playing the lane already. You can tell that they want to go for some type of play immediately on Ramses, but I love the point that Kevin brought up. We saw that in the group stages. I think the PL pick, like he was mentioning, you have your Conjure Image, so at least you have some type of solution to block out those arrows. Good lane, Solo. He wanted to go for a courier snipe, but they know.
Keeping it hidden there.
And they've actually forced Ramses to TP to the tier 1 here because he was getting zoned out from the wave, so that's a little bit... Can be a little bit scary. If you do actually get brought down as this Terrorblade now, you won't have that TP to return to the lane. So Ramses, they're gonna have to secure him, make sure he does not get killed. Mid, we see those first 4 creeps being secured by no one there.
Yeah, against the Kunkka with his right click, that's not an easy job.
No. Animation though, super good on Gyrocopter, pretty much instant, and you have the missile to zone him away. Doesn't get that deny there, though. But overall, Kunkka versus that Gyrocopter, we've seen, I remember it was Team Secret, right? Last year, they loved it. Before it was nerfed, of course, with that Tidebringer, but overall, the way that the interaction of Rum versus Flak Cannon versus Gyrocopter overall is very strong. Able to pretty much counteract the entire Flak, and then your team can go for a fight when Gyro doesn't have it if you get the Rum off during it.
We heard, obviously, the confidence of RZ, but I think you look at the other side, that 5th pick PA, that just radiances sort of confidence from PSG LGD. You're picking this PA, a hero that is pretty squishy. There's a lot of magical burst against, but I think you're saying, well, we have got the Kunkka with the Rum, and we have got X-Nova with the Disruption. We can afford to play this hyper-aggressive sort of glass cannon carry because of our lineup and because of how strong it is.
It's like they've got the double saves, and then they also have it's like a BKB timing. Sure, in these type of parts of the game, he'll be a little bit weak. Arrow just off the mark. But once he gets BKB, he's going to reign supreme, right? Who's the only one he really has to worry about when he has BKB is just the Terrorblade at mid.
Very fire, Torrent won't save him. VP, they're able to get in on the middle with Solo coming forward with that stun. His first blood is secured, and no one will be given that edge that he was already getting in the CS, as you say. He's playing this matchup perfectly.
This was one of the heroes that we've said a long time ago also, that VP, they were one of the first ones to really start bringing the mid gyrocopter when they were running it with Roger Earthshaker. When they first brought Roger along, they played this matchup so many times, just having that gyro, being very aggressive in the mid lane. So yeah, 15-3 start. Also the Pango, 15-4 start. Very impressive already for VP. As also, X-Nova will go down.
Solo, he's making these moves from top lane to bottom lane, making sure that both of these cores really do have a beautiful opening in the first few minutes.
It's going to look to be a very early Javelin coming out for Pasha, based off how much he's able to get done in this top lane here with Solo so far.
See now, a bit of a turn. Solo is going to be able to walk himself away.
You mentioned how much magical burst there is on VP. Also, you have to throw in the ET, right? They have that extra natural order that will really amplify everything together when they will be able to have those timings. That's the poisons. We'll stack up onto Pasha, but it's only level 1.
Yeah, that importance of the BKB on PA definitely amplified this game, but it's gonna take time. We'll see what sort of a pace VP are able to play with, because they themselves also likely to be making moves as 4 and trying to buy space for Ramses on the map. As their other 4 heroes can definitely afford to make aggressive plays. Bottom,
Ramses.
They go with the Star Storm.
I don't watch the mark again.
Burst low, and indeed FY. Maybe watching a few too many BSJ streams. I'm joking. Right,
oh, he skills leap. He's going for the triple leap. He wants Roger. He gets
it. He's watching BSJ streams. FY. There we go. Compliment for you as well, Brian. Balance it.
Is Brian play Mirana?
I mean, I wouldn't call it play.
Come on. What'd he do to you?
See bottom. And here's the meta for a bit of a show onto Chalice. He's tied. Could walk it off. FY's
no leap.
More vulnerable. And in fact, Solo, he's got the setup with the Hex. Roger with the stomp. Solo, he's on a killing spree. This Lion.
He's everywhere. He's got Tranquil Boots.
He's killed up.
Stick.
He's killed mid. He's killed top. He's killed bottom. He's making the magic happen, Solo.
He's really securing this early game for them so far here. And immediately walking toward mid lane. No hesitation. He's got both spells available when he has his stick. Do they have level 6 on no one? Not just yet. But he will already prepare the missile. And here comes Solo. No one is pretty low here, though.
Sonos has got a lot of HP to work with. That'll be the drag back.
Nice Hex.
Torrent is going to be missed due to that disable from Solo, throwing the combo off top lane. Arme and X-Nova be able to push over toward the rune spot and claim Pasha's life, whilst he's left alone and Solo's trying to help out mid.
Yeah, he was left alone for quite a while and was still doing pretty well in those last hits, so they dive forward and really make sure that they can push Pasha out of there. As it looks like Somnus actually might hit level 6 before no one does in that mid lane. Has fully recovered, a couple last hits behind, but still doing just fine in that matchup. Arrow immediately onto that catapult, so that push.
He didn't miss that one.
That time he didn't miss. Yeah, sometimes we see like the push come out with those catapults with the Terrorblade. This time, definitely not going to be the case as X-Nova. There's going to be a swashbuckle.
I was going to say they're chasing this one for sure. Swashbuckle won't quite kill him.
No Javelin procs, but
he's hunting, and he's found him. It's going to be a kill for Pasha, making the plays with that Javelin picked up.
FYI, he wants to make the first rotation himself onto mid lane. It is spotted immediately by that VP bottom ward. So no one will probably play careful here. Also having a chainmail. He's kind of tanky. With that double Wraithband chainmail, sitting at that 17 armor when he's standing next to the tower. Still playing a little bit safe as he did spot the move. And it looks like he's going to make his own move. As he picks up his boots from the courier, he's like, okay, I don't want to sit mid. I can probably set up a kill easily onto Ame up top. He is also spotted by a ward during this rotation, though.
Solo can get this opening. By time for him to come in, X-Nova will slow down the move of no one with the disruption. They have the combo. FY's trying to turn, and Ame jumps in, gets one crit, gets a second crit with the Star Storm. That's the kill for PSG LGD. As they read the moves of VP, FY there with the backup to turn things in their favor, and they get that gyro out of the game.
He saw FY bottom pick up that haste rune. FY quickly just darts through the jungle. Now
FY's looking for more.
They want Roger.
Should be able to have a good shot at chasing this down. As Roger, he has a TP, but FY's got that arrow. If Roger tries to play his way out of this, I don't think there's any escape for the ET.
They're cutting him off as well. X-Nova cuts off the other route, so Roger really trying to just play
Back
around
in the lane, though, once the distraction's there, Ame is left alone. So Roger's kind of happy with that. He says, I mean, you're spending a lot of time looking for me, but your carries die. So if Roger dies, it doesn't, it's a good trade. VP's happy.
They look like they're going to get him, yeah, but like you said, a very nice play there as Pasha gets a whole... Pasha gets, what, two
kills Ame
from it, and he kills Ame?
That's going to be Arcane's done, so Pasha's strength in the lane now is very hard for Ame to farm against.
And it's also, it's not even just Ame, it's like the two supports are forced to spend, what, 30, 40 seconds chasing around that Elder Titan, which means, look at the Terrorblade. Ramsey's able to farm freely versus Chalice as well. That pressure being alleviated off the map. And they're going to start preparing those stacks.
There we go, Somnus. He's got that 7, he's got a lot of damage. The Hex tries to throw off the combo, but it won't be the case. Still able to drag him back and get that pick off. And enter solo streak gives a little tasty bounty early on for Somnus. Overall, even net worth. All cores really finding some action. He's the one difference being solo stepping a little further ahead.
Yeah.
Few hundred ahead of the supports.
Biggest winner is definitely Pasha. A Pangolier having this great of a start in the game. There's a reason we don't see this hero picked too often, especially not in that 3-position role, as we've heard.
It's
not
not
a
easy
strong
to do
laner.
this.
Yeah, and he's having an excellent time. Already Arcane Boots finished up after that Javelin. Fantastic timing for him. And you see Ame, he has to play a bit afraid up here until he gets rotations.
He cannot trade with the Pang.
No.
Mid lane, setups there, FY. Timing perfectly.
Easy kill.
Gotta be careful how you step up in the lane against this SD, as it's very likely that FY is hiding in the shadows to make the counterplay happen. Pasha playing around with the Rolling Thunder. He knows that all he needs is a swashbuckle to get out of that combo.
Very nicely done there. Just he knows that he's just watching the animation of the Kunkka, waiting to see if he thinks it's a boat, if he thinks it's a torrent, whichever one he believes he can save that Rolling Thunder if he needs to. But holds on to it. So Ame still has to play very careful up here, and he's just gonna have to jungle a little bit, being pushed away from the lane. As Ramsey says, Terrorblade, you're gonna be able to jungle at that much faster pace than a PA, as PA does not even have a steroid. None of them on her team can really amplify her, while TB just, your conjure image will always act as your own.
Not at all. And it's going to be a long sort of time for the PA. Same to be said for the Terrorblade, but maybe even longer so for the PA until she's active. She's going for the Battle Fury build this game. Mid lane, another setup into the arrow. They're making these combo plays happening. There's a lot of setup for FY to play with this game, and he's not missing arrows anymore.
They have like the two best heroes for setting up in the game. Kunkka as well as that Shadow Demon. OD might be the other one that you can argue for, but Pasha, he's getting surrounded here.
On the high ground, he's going to try and roll his way out. They're bringing back into the arrow torrent, perfectly executed. As they have to disable to make sure there's no way for him to roll away.
Playing Pango versus Kunkka can be a little difficult sometimes, right? Because you're charging up your Rolling Thunder, and he can actually just use the X to disrupt down as well, rather than just using the Torrent or that boat. So able to instantly be able to set that one up, and then an arrow immediately to take out the catapult, but they won't be able to transition it into a push in the mid lane. But bottom, looks like they do want to turn that into a push onto this tier 1 tower for PSG LGD.
LGD with their items, you know, obviously they're all going for big things. Somnus also is the double brace Radiance build for Kunkka.
That's like the Kunkka build now, it seems. Yeah.
It just makes him so tanky and so hard to deal with in these fights.
Especially when he's playing versus a Terrorblade, right? You're playing versus an illusion-based hero, you want to go for that Radiance on the Kunkka.
Yeah, Radiance on Kunkka, and as I say, the Battle Fury on PA, they will have ways to deal with Ramsey's army.
I think I feel like you have to almost go on PA, like Battlefield for PA. And he's like one of the few heroes, like Anti-Mage and PA feel like they probably just need to if they don't have their own type of steroid. If you don't have a Magnus, you don't have Bloodlust or somebody else that's just giving you that way to farm a lot faster.
You don't think sort of a Deso Rush is, it's just too risky nowadays, one bad fight and you're not coming back into a game?
I think versus a hero like Terrorblade, it's not worth it. Versus the other four, sure, but TB has such high natural armor.
Get the pull back onto Roger. Does throw the ult out. It's going to clip onto Somnus. Pasha's still trying to fight with the supports as they're rolling onto X-Nova. But attack on solo. Jump in. It's an easy kill for Ame. These fights now, They're trying to force them, VP, but PSG LGD, they just turn, they jump, they get these kills. And those early ganks from Solo just, they're miles away. This game has turned around. PSG LGD making the leading moves, and all 3 cores benefiting.
They need no one to be the one to making the moves around, but he's probably feeling a bit reluctant. After that move, he makes the move top and then just dies immediately, gets his game set back heavily. Probably doesn't want to be the one to make moves until he has that drum finish stuff. So for now, they're going to be a bit limited in their movement, while LGD, they're just cruising back and forth, looking for plays constantly with that Kunkka as well as that Mirana. And they're just constantly setting up, protecting Ame's jungle. The arrow. Not being thrown out here. Now it's going to get tossed. He's going to get hit.
Good jukes for Solo, but still taking a lot of damage.
Oh,
FY. He tries to come in, but the turn, the finger, FY. Oh, FY. Why? I mean, he wanted it.
He did.
I mean, he got the finger. And that's a finger buff for Solo.
Overconfidence. Probably not expecting everybody else to be there, but still. Yeah, feeling himself there for sure. Probably, maybe not even getting a kill there. Solo's still pretty tanky with his like Tranquil Boots as well as his Bracer. Like, this is a line who's gotten a lot done in the early game, like you mentioned. He kind of is the 4 position already at this point for his team. That being said, frontline for VP, a little bit concerned for them, right? You look at their heroes, and they're fairly squishy on their draft.
Yeah, it's what Pasha, as long as he gets the Rolling Thunder off, he can sort of be the man to go in.
But there are ways to kill him. You know, they have the PA, who's just straight physical damage, which Pangolier does not really like playing versus too much. So they don't really have that best front line because Roger has been relegated now to the 5 position. So their front line is definitely lacking it versus what LGD has, who has the best frontliner. They have a Tide Under.
And a Tide Under covered in Kunkka's rum.
Absolutely.
And Kunkka Somnus, 3,300 gold on that relic. It's pretty much there. It's going to be a very fast timing from Somnus this game.
And a fast Battle Fury too. Ame already having 2 pieces. He's only like 1,600 gold away from that Battle Fury.
This is scary for VP. It may only be a 1k lead, but the fact that PSG LGD are getting this space for these 2 cores, that passing in 2 minutes time, and they're turning up with the Battle Fury. Well, I mean, might choose to stick to just focus on farming for the next time afterwards, but at least with Somnus coming to these fights with a Radiance, it's not going to be easy for VP to take the fights head on.
No, especially because Ramses is not going to be... Ramses turning up to the fights, there's a lot of control, there's a lot of magic damage for this Terrorblade to deal with. He's not going to be able to just walk in with his illusions doing anything possible because there's Torrents, there's Cleaves, there's the Boat, there's the Starstorm, there's so many different instances of damage that can clear out those illusions very quickly. So Ramses' game is going to be tough. They really need to start rallying around the Gyrocopter, and that's what they're going to do. The drum is finished. They've got Maelstrom as well on Pasha. He's looking to see what he can make. I want to see Pasha switch this up, though. I think he should go for the mech build in this game. Instead of just... I mean, he has the Maelstrom already done, which is great damage, that magical mixed. But now he's queued up the Aghanims, and like we said, their front line is definitely lacking.
See smoke from both sides and a moonlight as well from FY to try and set things up. Hunting for Ramses, illusion in their jungle. They know that Ramses is likely to be nearby, but he's already headed over there, back to the half of the map. A Hex will be attempted. Down bottom, but a quick run away. FY with the ace rune already popped. Will manage to get himself away from that. So neither side finding much of a catch with these moves, just avoiding one another.
It's actually already going to be a full mech on FY as well. So we're talking about tankability of LGD with the Hood, with a mech on your support Mirana. This is definitely going to cause problems for VP, who do not have anyone matching them.
They're not going to have the damage with that mech and the Kunkka's Rum in these fights.
And the front line too. They just won't have that there for themselves, so they're going to have to be playing a little bit of this farm game.
Yeah, Ramses needs a lot of time this game.
Yep.
Some of the Battle Fury build and the pace that PSG LGD themselves probably feel comfortable in playing, we are probably likely to see him get that time. It's just a question of how well does the rest of VP's lineup hold up against these fast item timings of LGD.
Yeah, PSG LGD, they're feeling good right now, right? They don't need to force anything. They're playing on their side of the map. They're the ones getting like this free farm. They're going to have the Battle Fury finished up. The Radiance going to be done on Kunkka too. Probably when they have Radiance, they're going to look to take the fights. But
that's the thing I feel. Once they have Radiance and Battle Fury, they can keep fight, but they're not too fussed if a fight is forced because of the fact that they can keep one another alive very easily. They have the sustain and they've got the damage.
Yeah, Ame can just sit in the jungle and then come. You know, typical carry contribution, show up at the end, couple daggers, jump in, clean some people up. see that 55-45 Dota plus probability at the moment here. But definitely feeling for, you look at Nolan right now in the net worth, he's really starting to get left in the dust. He's that hero they have to rally around when he has BKB, but that's going to take time. He's going to have to act as that pseudo frontliner as this gyrocopter versus a PA, which is definitely scary.
Now, even without the BKB, as we said, there's so many ways that PSG can keep that PA alive. To the point that this Gyro's damage combo shouldn't really be an issue, unless there's some sort of way that VP can get to the back lines. Obviously, a good Echo Stomp might be what does it. If he can catch out the supports, catch out X-Nova, and stop those save plays coming in.
Yeah, it's like we're saying, like, we're talking about how like, VP, the lack of the front line, but they do still pack a punch. They do have a lot of damage if they can keep them controlled, for them not to get the rum off, not get the mech off. Very unlikely for that to happen, as this is a very farmed Kunkka who now has the Radiance finished up at the 17-minute mark. 17:38 as he picks it up.
A very, very respectful timing.
And now they're starting to rally. You see Ame, he's kind of starting to make his way down toward bottom, but just going to be farming, probably stanking Ancients before he does do anything else. I mean, yeah, he just needs to farm.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And they're showing themselves down bottom PSG, but VP, what's the plan there? Just focusing on pushing out that mid, pushing out that top lane. Not looking to come down for now, and in fact, it's going to be PSG wrapping around, maybe even towards the mid. Who's there at the moment? It's just the Elder Titan.
Yep.
They'll just come in and try and hold these illusions off the tier 1, keep their tower alive for now.
Right now, it's not the most natural for them to set up for plays. Like we saw in the last game when they played with the Tidehunter, they weren't able to just like walk in and take the fights. Maybe with the Invis, they can actually look to set up like that. But with the Blink Dagger, with the Tidehunter, when he's able to get down, that's when they're really going to start just running at VP, just looking to bring every single fight to them. So right now, like we said, a little bit awkward, a little bit of a lull period. Both teams just continue to try to maximize the farm on the map. Yeah, Ame, Battle Fury finished. Desolator next is going to be the one that's queued up, and then more than likely going to be that BKB that he does need in the game.
It really does just feel like the power, sort of the growth of the heroes on LGD's lineup. It's sort of ahead, and it moves at a similar pace.
Top, look at this wraparound. Solo is hiding.
Ame's pretty deep. They've got the disable, and they got the burst. They should have him here, and they do. VP, they're able to punish a greedy Ame, who pushes out alone and doesn't expect VP to still be hanging around, and that's a big pick off of them.
Solo really putting the team on his back right now in these first, with all these rotations really from himself. He was just hiding in the tree line there, waiting for somebody to step too far forward. Very nicely set up there by VP as they're able to slow down Ame, slow down that farm, allow Ramses to get better timings than him. As he's got the Manta, the Scotties, he's getting farmed.
Growth certainly there for VP, but still yet to see no one be able to get involved in any of the action. 0-1-1 on that mid gyro.
All just because of that first rotation, it puts you off of making like all your moves.
Yeah, it slowed his entire game down.
Yeah. It's Bounty Runes. Looks like it's going to be 2 for 2, more than likely, unless X-Nova really pushes forward. X-Nova will. Just walks up onto the high ground casually. So they'll get themselves 3. And it still is going to be the full Aghanim, so they're going to rely a lot on Pasha for damage, it looks like, and then he's queuing up the mech afterwards. So, like we were saying, he still needs to act as that frontliner as the Pangolier. He needs armor.
Do you think for VP they feel like there is any sense of urgency, or do you feel that they're saying, well, Ramses, we've got the Ramses Terrorblade?
That's what it looks like, right? They're probably like, we have Ramses Terrorblade, we have a Gyrocopter who also scales really well, and a Pango who scales really well, and we have an ET Natural Order. The Natural Order is always one thing that we're going to have to watch, especially when you're playing versus PA, one of the higher physical armor heroes. If you are able to actually get next to him as an ET, the damage will definitely be there. But that evasion always is going to be a bit of a frustration for the Terrorblade.
21 minutes in, 7-10, 4K lead. PSG LGD is. It really just feel both teams happy with the farming approach to this one.
Right, they're all getting good. They're all getting good pacing. They're all getting good timings of their items, right? Like Somnus is getting close to BKB. They got Blink on Chalice.
They got the Deso.
He continues farming. Deso now finished up. Maybe now we see a fight because they've got the Blink on Chalice. That was the big one last time where they're like, we don't have the greatest initiations. With that, they will. But like we said, they're approaching some big items still anyway soon. But yeah, we see them grouping up, and this is likely that smoke with the Deso. with that blink.
I mean, Deso PA, you find yourself on top of Solo after he's dropped out a Hex and a stun. He's dead in a couple of hits.
You get yourself 1 or 2 kills, you can just go straight into the Roche pit, and then you're going to be playing with an Aegis advantage, and the map is going to get smaller and smaller. So let's see if they can actually catch anyone on here. Jump forward. Roger. Is that no crits? He just died for like the regular attacks there, it seems.
I believe so. Just the damage of the Deso. It's terrifying. VP, they've got to hold themselves in the base. It's PSG LGD, they're waiting right outside.
Ramses.
He's stepped forward. There's the setup. The creeps will block it, but the demonic purge is down. They'll try and get on top of the bomb. Chalice is in with the Ravage, and Ramses is dead. Pash is going to look to roll forward. The BKB pop for no one. They're hunting for the easier kills. Finger onto X-Nova, but X-Nova will live. He's out over the trees. X-Mark's there. The arrow will whiff. They drag back Solo. Chalice, Gush, Dagger again. They're cleaning up these fights. Now that they've started to look for them, PSG LGD, they just at a power level that's hard for VP to stand toe-to-toe with at the moment.
And the BKB is down for no, and they're committing forward for it.
They drop it back. They are going to have the ult coming down, but a jump over from Army will dodge it. Another X marks there. No one's going to be dragged back towards the team as they take out the Jaro. They take everything here from VP, pushing down mid.
Ame once more.
He's not even done looking for a crit, won't get it. So Roger gets the chance to stomp. But you know that Ame's going to still maybe try and chase. Now he's playing it sensible. It's TI. He doesn't want to throw things away. Back towards mid. Pasha starting to print the rest of LGD low. A boat will come in, give some of the run to Somnus as he'll look for the TP out. Ramses, can he find him? But no, X-Nova. Disruption. Make sure that his 2 cores get out alive. And X-Nova in a similar fashion to game 1. He'll die, but he saves his cores.
Such a beautiful smoke there coming into play there. LGD, they smoke, they get a base ward, they get all the information that they needed, all the information they wanted. They see where everybody on VP is, and Ramses just shows himself outside just a little bit too far. That blink dagger from Chalice able to get that clean up, all that extra damage and control. And we saw Gyrocopter, like no one, he walked in, he pops his flag, he hits like everybody with the full flag and call down. A mech gets popped from the Mirana, and everybody's
It really is at this point, all the damage just he'll back up with that mech.
Yep. And now they're starting. Now they have the Greaves finished up too. They're starting to get BKBs as well on Somnus, and you're gonna imagine Ame will also be approaching that one quite soon. VP, they've got to make something big happen here with this smoke versus that Ravage being on cooldown. Will they be able to?
Whoa. Solo's aware.
20 seconds until Ravage is back online. VP. Not looking like they're going to be able to actually find anything here. Wallet is not up. So GD, PSG will back up. They will be perfectly fine with all of this, as the next timing for them is that BKB on Ame, so they're going to keep controlling the map. And we see that base ward placed down. They feel so confident to do whatever they please.
They know they can move in immediately. And Ramsey's not getting the chance to hit a single hero in that fight. And there's, you say, flat cannon. It doesn't even look like they've been hit.
Yeah.
They're back up to full HP.
It's the combo of the both. We mentioned it during like the draft, right at the end of it there. That Kunkka versus the Gyrocopter too. The RUM was applied on absolutely everybody. So sure, Pango's coming in, he's shield crashing, swashbuckling all over the place, but that mitigation really coming in.
And when Ame has the BKB, they're not going to be able to touch him.
Really does feel like that.
He's level 20, BKB. I mean, he's got the money for it. He's got it done.
He can TP back and pick it up if they want to play it like that. Like Somnus can X him and then bring him back, but they're just going to back up, it looks like here.
They've even got the Vlads on Chalice, allowing him to get that life steal on the PA.
They're ready to fight, though.
Everything is coming together for LGD.
Yep, the perfect timing.
What do they do? What do they do?
They look like they're smoked up looking for a fight, but it's still difficult. Ramses, like, he's got Manta, he's got Scotty, he's tanky, but as we saw in that last fight, there's just a devastating amount of control. And even if he is tanky like this, you still have to deal with Soul Catcher. You have Manta to remove it, but if you don't have your Manta up and you're Soul Catchered, you are going to be a lot squishier as they get a wraparound.
Start to try and have a bit of a poke. Missile heading the way of Chalice, but immediate disengage with the Moonlight Shadow. They'll be able to find X-Nova with the combo. And again, X-Nova, he'll fall, but everybody else should get out. FY still with that Moonlight Shadow coverage to allow him to walk back to safety, and it can never feel good killing X-Nova, because then you know as VP that everything's going to plan for LGD. If it's only the Shadow Demon you've killed, you've lost the fight.
Every single time, it does seem, even every single time, not in this game and the last game, all of the situations, X-Nova.
It's just down to positioning, right? They always have the right person in place to die.
And they know how to, in that fight too, that's a bit of a difficult one. They're like, hey, we're strong, but that type of fight engaging in that area, we're kind of surrounded. It's not the best way for us to take it. Now they're getting a better type of surround here. As VP, they're split up. Ame is already prowling around with this blur, and Roger, he's spotted.
They're gonna find him.
He's gonna be a quick and easy one for them.
He's gonna try for the sum. He's not gonna get a chance to do so. With that gush, arm reduction, Desolator. Ame can make quick work of whoever he finds.
And there's that situation we talked about. If they get one of those big kills, they can look to just commit into this Roche pit as they will kill it super fast. And taking the fight around here for VP, sure, they've got Pango, but their ET is dead. He is the crucial one around that Roche pit. Oh, LGD, they're really running away with this one now.
Yeah, it's starting to look like a bit of a repeat of game one. Once they get the advantage, they do not let go of it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is very similar to the last one, right? They've killed Ame once, but before, they've really only killed X-Nova again. As Ramses really needs, that BKB timing for him is going to be completely necessary, but is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough for him to actually do the damage? Very similar to that last time. Sure, he's got these ways to protect himself, but will they actually be able to kill anybody on the side of PSG LGD? As we see some, interesting, little bit of innovative item pickups. Ame, he hasn't chosen to finish it yet, but as we see, that Ags is queued up.
The
which
Aghanim's PA.
The refresh, as you know, if you get a kill, it refreshes all of your abilities, including that blur, so you can keep hopping around inside the fights.
Blur's cooldown goes down as well.
Yep.
And Blur now, it dispels.
That is true.
It's a buff for everything. Mid lane, they get the roll in, finger out, they should get this kill. We get one. Question is, how much are they going to lose in return? Will we just solo?
That's pretty good if they're able to disengage off of that one. They forced a BKB as well from Somnus. So what the important one, I guess, is instead of wanting to go for a different like another dispel, now he's going to have the blur to dispel that reflection every time inside the team fights. Can be a little bit annoying, not the super amazing, but dispelling the reflection, dispelling the disarm from the Pango, that looks pretty neat.
And it makes the blur instant.
Right? I mean, that's actually pretty cool. I haven't gotten to see it. I played
so I guess what
in a competitive game.
You see a Sunder coming your way, you've disappeared.
Yeah.
They've got to have the vision ready. Well, I know even that, right? You're just gone.
I mean, I'm really intrigued to see it.
I mean, he's going to get it at such a good timing as well with the beginning that he's had to this style, mate.
Mid lane, no one. It's getting grabbed up. He's going to force the BKB.
That will keep him safe for a little bit. He is just going to have to TP out. He's lucky that Ame wasn't around, so they didn't quite have the physical damage to fight through that BKB. But again, no one with these BKB usages, he's just not able to get much done at all. It's having to be a BKB and a runaway. He doesn't have the items. He doesn't have the damage. There's not a lot that he can offer to the team fight.
Absolutely true. You see, of course, more items being picked up. LGD, they're picking up all these solutions. They have a Lotus Orb, not only to remove the reflection, but like you said, the Sunder. I don't know, do we know if that interaction was fixed as well with the BKB Sunder, right?
That's how it's intended to work, to be honest.
How it works, you can still Lotus Orb through the BKB Sunder, so they have to watch out for that for Ramses
We'll find out in this game.
We'll find if it was changed.
If it was changed. Yes, that's the correct terminology.
There you go.
Thank you.
For the people who don't know, of course, if you are BKB'd on Terrorblade and you Sunder a Lotus Orb, you still will not get your HP back.
The HP stayed the same. At least that was how it was indeed in the group stages.
In the group stages, yes.
I did test it the other day, and it was still like that.
VP, they're scanned up. They can actually find no one here. They're just throwing the boat out. They really want him. They got the vision of him for a second. No one.
Pop the BKB. TP's going to be available in a second. If he TP's straight away, he should be fine.
It's gonna be really close.
He is. He just had enough seconds left on that BKB to get out. Back inside the jungle of VP. Roger's been found, but Ramses, it's sort of blocking off Roger there. They're going to try and turn Ame. He's got the BKB. Wants to try and fight this a little bit, or at the least make sure that he gets out. He will be fine then. Not able to again deal with these BKBs yet, VP.
Yeah, they have no BKB piercing anything, pretty much. As he plays it safe too, right? Some situations you're like, hey, I'm gonna die and just use my BKB, but he knows how strong he is at that point. He doesn't need to play like that. As this PA is solo, will walk up. He's gonna get purged.
He's got the disable onto Ame to try and get himself out of vision.
But they want blood.
It's back there. Disruption setup. In Ame goes, and a crit for the finishing blow.
12,000 gold lead over a 15,000 experience lead, and just the Dota Plus continuing to tick forward in LGD's favor. 82% win rate now for them as they're just keeping the map dominance.
Ramses' farm, he's still on par with Arme, but what does it amount to? What can this Terrorblade do? As all their hopes rest on Ramses.
Ooh, nice little play there by Maybe. Turns off the Radiance before the reflection actually does come out, so it doesn't even burn his teammates at all. Small little things. They slow siege.
And a successful one hit, tier 3. Falling very low with those ST illusions. They'll get it. The base is opened up and serve the shrines.
They're gonna send a missile back. It'll be cleaned up by illusions. And Ame's Aegis will get reclaimed. Gonna back up. And oh, they might not fully back up here, as if they see this top rune, they might look for a quick re-engagement.
Oh, that double damage. They want it. Ame.
They're trying to keep VP suffocated in their base. You see, maybe X's himself goes bottom, clears the wave, and yeah, they want to keep this fight.
Get back to the base, VP. Get back to the fountain. You cannot dare come out.
They have to find more ways to keep farming, though. VP, they have to struggle to get outside to get this, I mean, in particular, the MKB on Ramses. He needs it. He can't actually do any damage inside of the fights versus Ame until he gets that. And even then, it's still seeming so difficult for them versus PSG LGD, as they're all rallied. Everyone just rallied together, not giving any opportunities for VP to even get a pick off. Pasha, has to be very careful how he does those type of plays.
Instant poke and the Moonlight from LGD. They're starting to build up the money again on Arme. Obviously, with just holding that DD rune, he does still have a good slot to fill.
Probably likely to be the Abyssal. Maybe he's thinking, wait till I see what Ramses is building if I need to actually go for an MKB or something like that on myself as a PA. But the Abyssal is the more than likely one for that BKB Pierce.
What about the Nullifier?
His Nullifier could also have its argument, yeah. That's a good one. There's a lot of different varieties that he can go for.
Yeah.
As now VP, they've got this timing. So let's see if they can make anything happen of it with this MKB, as they will have some damage at least to go through the PA. But they don't have smokes. I don't believe they have any available. Oh no, they have one left on Roger, sorry.
Looks like he's, the moment he's queued up, he's going to go the way the Bloodthorn.
Okay. I seem to really like that item lately. Building up on that Sven in the last game versus a Morphling. This game, it's not as clear-cut because you're not playing versus like a Morph, but still very good versus the Terrorblade, as he can also build versus a Butterfly, and this is the way to kind of counteract both the Sunder as well as that evasion that will come out. Jump forward, kills those illusions quick.
It just really feels in both of these games, VP have been unable to make any sort of moves themselves in the second half of them. As this game, you know, goes on 35 minutes in, it's just been pretty much nothing from VP offensively. They're just trying to get their farm to a point where they can have a chance of defending their base.
But their base is getting chunked out already. Losing another tier 3. It's PSG LGD. They'll just continue. They're going to do the X. Quickly bring him back. Getting some tower damage as well. Arrow to scout.
How would you start this fight if you're VP?
They don't have the natural forms of initiation. Pasha wants to, but like we said, he hasn't built any armor, and he now has the Vlads at least finished up, but
Ramses
fairly squishy. Ramses
he's going to get arrowed here as he stands.
They're throwing everything.
Ramses dead. He doesn't have buyback. No one's trying to fight back here as he pops the BKB. Arme himself also has the BKB ready. Jumps up, Solo's got as well. Ramses, he was AFK.
That might be the game.
And he can't buy back. He just stood there and took FY's arrow to the face.
The drafting panel was concerned that there were no saves in this draft.
I mean,
he just gets out.
And that's a Terrorblade that spent 36-minute farming for that. He spent the whole game farming, and he gets hit by one arrow, and all that it was for nothing.
And they're just gonna keep diving forward here. Pasha X'd up, he's arrowed, and he's brought down.
They're falling apart.
That just might be it.
Well,
no, and he's gonna try to commit forward.
But he does no damage.
And there comes
no damage. as LGD, they have really come into this first series of the TI9 main event with all guns blazing. Solo will jump in. They'll pop the Ghost Scepter. Pasha trying to offer some sort of damage out there. Brought back on no one.
They're on Somnus.
Solves down, and with the Splitter, they do kill off the Kunkka. They get one. They need so much more from this, though, VP. They'll find Chalice as well. They will manage to hold on, but their base has been torn apart. Bottom rack's gone, mid rack's gone. Only that range rack's in the top lane still standing.
Completely in shambles after all that. Such a big deficit, and how much gold did they all just pick up there on the side of LGD? Like, everybody's finishing up their next item.
Oh, mate, he's ready for a bit of fun.
He's got the rapier
He
queued
knows
up.
that this is in the bag.
So he heard our suggestions. He queued up the Bloodthorn. He's like, no. Maybe he still switches
rapier.
it,
He's about to hit 25 as well, so he can get that triple dagger. Triple dagger with rapier. He's doing this one for the fans.
I have seen somebody else take the 10%, but what do you miss the triple dagger in this one?
That VP, though.
They're gonna get this.
They are into the Roche, and they will find it.
Arrow will connect onto Ramses.
It is another arrow, Ramses. They can't follow it up this time. And Nectar Solo jump in. He gets the stun off onto two of them. Cooldown's down. No one moves forward. Yes, LGD will back
Solo.
off. Now Solo getting brought down low by the poison. Passion in with a jump. They managed to cut down Nike's Nova. Shadow Demon's dead. Buyback straight away. Roger on the backlines with focus. Replay for what? Get back to the game. Get it out of there. FY. He's been collapsed upon. Ramses 2 kills. Double kill. There's no buyback on FY.
Double gems. Pick him up.
VP had to buy back on both supports for this, but they're fighting back. Not to be held down, and you can see Vaname not invested in the rapier because he's like, are we fine? He's saving onto his money for now. He might resort to the safe play and just go, nullify and have buyback. We'll see how scared he is.
Maybe,
but
we'll
VP,
see. He's still feeling pretty confident.
They kick back.
They got the Aegis.
They kick back.
They got that Aegis and cheese. Very important for themselves here. But that, I mean, structural damage is still done, and that's why Chalice is dead. That's the big thing, right? Fighting into LGD's lineup when they don't have the Tidehunter, a little bit easier. Especially because they can get them with the numbers and just get the surround without that Tidehunter. But back to farming a little bit here for PSG.
He's saving on some money. Obviously, there's not really too much point. I guess he's so farm that the buyback is still worth it, even if he loses a rapier. But now he's going in. He's going in. He's got the rapier.
He's got buyback available.
Now, this is exciting because if he loses that rapier, this
game could really turn.
That could be a throw. It could be a throw. We'll see. I mean, they're feeling very confident, LGD, but there is that chance that if Arme loses the rapier, it ends up in the hands of no one. You never know.
Or in the hands of Ramses, too. Either one of them.
You never know. But at the same time, if Chalice just gets a good Ravage, there'll be more than enough time for him to jump from target to target. It's level 25 PA with the triple daggers and the Aghanim reset. He's just going to be cleaning up the entire squad.
Man, if he gets this an insta kill, like 6 daggers pretty much, right? The first kill, he'll throw out another set of daggers immediately.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And if he gets a kill off a dagger, he'll be able to throw out another triple dagger right away.
And another.
If he gets a couple chain kills, yep. And now he gets an arcane rune as well. So 4.2 second cooldown on dagger.
Hey, Korea. That's got an eagle song on.
Whoop, whoop. Oh, that's looking pretty dead.
That is very dead. Oh, that is an eagle song gone. That would have been Ramses. Very close to having a butterfly.
Who won't have buyback either. He has the Aegis for himself, but if he does die twice, no buyback. As they're already starting to poke and prod.
I mean, it's testament to how tanky he is. You just don't just get hit by a dagger from a PA with a rapier. Well, obviously wasn't a crit. Doesn't hurt him that much. He's got a lot of armor.
There's a lot of negative armor, though. I see like the Solar Crush. They even take the Gush talent as well, I believe. Oh, no, he didn't. That was the last game, sorry. He didn't take the Gush talent this time, but still with Solar Crush as well as that Desolator, still a lot of magic or physical armor reduction to pierce through. But yeah, 37 armor on TB. And it looks like PSG LGD still playing a little bit safe here, even though, I mean, I say safe, a little bit safe on the fact that the Aegis and the cheese are on VP's hands, not in items. As, a DD rune. Having passed that 40-minute mark, we're going to be seeing DDs aplenty.
Here we go. Give him the bottle. Give him the rune.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd knows that this rune, this bottle double damage.
He's already critting for 2,600 right now.
Times that by 2.
It's not how that works.
That's not how that works. Not good, because I wasn't ready to do the maths, so that's fine.
That's without the Deso put in as well. So it's 2600. He puts the Deso in. He's probably going to be critting with the DD rune over 3000 on if it's one of those like low physical armor heroes. Once it's the higher physicals, it's going to be a lot more reduced. But we'll see some big numbers.
Full Bloodthorn on Somnus, so we're going to see even more big numbers.
Yeah.
Crits upon crits, Solo. He's going to look for the jump in. Pasha's there. Actually hits the cliff, so won't be able to find the Xnova straight away, and it gives Xnova the time to put the disruption. The rest of LGD's moving in. Ramsey's in with a BKB. They'll kill off Xnova. Can they get more, though?
They're trying to disengage. He popped BKB in meta.
BKB, double damage. He'll look for the quick kill first. Solo's down. Now turns for the next. Jump forward up to no one. Back to the high ground. He's still a little scared. As the BKB will wear off, Arme not ready to fully commit. But FY finds no one inside the jungle. Ramses and Pasha, the last two left alive as Ramses is surrounded. They'll jump forward, take him out, and indeed it's scored. It's over for VP in this upper bracket. As PSG LGD take game 2, they take the whole series, and again, it didn't look close. This was LGD on another level. VP did not seem prepared.
No, PSG LGD in this, I mean, they just seem to have their number. This Tidehunter just proving to be such a problem for VP. Even though they were able to get their farm out throughout the game, one pickoff. They get one pickoff after Ramses, and they lose their entire base pretty much.
And we saw sort of signs of this from VP in the group stage. They had some series that just looked absolutely atrocious, where both games back-to-back, they were struggling to find any sort of momentum. And here on the main stage, those sort of problems, they still lie with the team.
Yeah, definitely just hitting a bit of a brick wall of LGD with this draft. Just a super comfortable one, and a last pick PA just working out perfectly for them.
Well, they're hungry to find what they felt was theirs last year. PSG LGD is this opening series. They make it look easy enough. Off they go, walking away without breaking a sweat, as they'll take this first one 2-0 against VP.
Congratulations to PSG LGD. They have done exactly what they did 12 months ago at the International 2019 against exactly the same opponent in the quarterfinals of the upper bracket, a 2-0 win. And gents, I have to say that looked pretty easy. It almost looked like they were having a bit of fun. Too much fun, some would say, at the end with the Rapier and the double damage and some dodgy maths.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you write easy peasy in the end, and you just walk away from your table, queue into the next game. But overall, LGD's performance looked extremely good. The early game was on point. You have two best heroes in the game who can set up the arrow, Shadow Demon and Kanka with the X mark. A lot of kills with those two. And man, Ame. I mean, Ame is a crazy person.
Yeah.
You said it. Getting that data.
I mean, we should explain to some of the new reviews. That was slightly risky because he didn't need to do that. He didn't need to buy the Rapier. And the problem with the Rapier, for those who don't know, is it can be dropped and therefore fall into enemy hands, which could have turned the game.
And not just that, it is like one of the best items on Gyrocopter, which is the hero that they're playing against. Exactly. So you give that one away, all of a sudden this like for sure win turns into, you know, Virtus Pro walking out with the victory.
Yeah. So yeah, big kahoonies.
Yeah, I would say so. We've seen a couple players on the PA too. I think we should just make this a standard build. Why not every single time?
I'm down.
Right?
Let's go.
That Agnim's pretty fun. Get a little bit of survivability and just
And
all right.
I think the biggest thing to me about it is it's like, if you're willing to go out there and risk it like that, that shows, oh man,
With
I love it.
And you're not worried about anything.
No, you don't play in to win. That's the biggest thing. Don't play not to lose.
Usually you don't go for Rapier when you're one Raxus from Mega Creeps. There's always a better item choice, but we got to give credit to the Madman.
Absolutely. No, he wanted to go heavy on that. We should also bring in our draft panel, just check in with the three gents who are on the panel. Yeah, what did you guys make of that? I mean, fun game, right?
Yeah, it was a fun game. I actually don't think the Rapier was that jokey. I think that's like a legit strat with the Ags. Because the way that Blur works, it's like if an enemy hero gets close to you, you're visible. But if you stay far away and Blur is on 100% cooldown with Ags, you're pretty much always invisible to the enemy team unless they happen to get close to you or find you. So his whole goal was to like stay permanently invis, buy Rapier, have triple daggers, and just throw daggers until he finally gets kills, and then he can commit with BKB. It was actually a cool strat abuse that I haven't seen before.
I just feel bad. Our Zeke was over 100% confident in Ramses Terrorblade.
Then you overflow.
Oh, integer overflow?
Yeah, so if you're over 100%, maybe there's like, we have 1% chance of winning this game. Like, oh man, Why did we pick terribly?
The float number errors, Red Eye. I guess Virtus Pro will now be knocked down to the lower brackets.
Yeah. Again, at the same point, I think that's the sad part about it from that. And they looked a bit lost, didn't they, gents? I see Solar come off kind of like, what do I do? I don't really know what to do now. And that's not like them. That's not the kind of Virtus Pro we expect to see.
All the same face I've seen for like 4 days before.
That's
I
true.
feel like every time I passed by him in between games, it was just Solo with that blank stare.
And to think about it, like going back to the group stage and what they were doing, they lost to Vici Gaming, Les Rubik, then they started picking Les Rubik. They ended up losing to Elder Titan Gyrocopter, then they started picking Elder Titan Gyrocopter. It's always feeling like they're trying to find that next thing. And, they're teams that are really good at adapting, but you want to come up with your own
But isn't that the case, though? Because you get beat down hard, and you're like, well, that works really well. Again, we'll use that.
Yeah, but you don't want to go in with that mentality. You want to be the one that's setting the meta in a certain
And they have been
place.
for the last couple of years, and it feels strange to not see that Lacoste now.
You could see on Ramsey's face, the face of regret after he ate that arrow.
Yeah.
I don't have a buyback. They managed to bring down 5 racks.
Yeah. And he's farmed the entire game to get to that point.
You're also having a TB with no save whatsoever, so that's kind of a big deal. And those should have TB into Shadow Demon, and also they have a lot of ways to dispel your reflection. The PA with the Aghanim Scepter, so she refreshes the blur. Also Lotus Orbs, the Guardian Greaves, BKBs, everyone had a way to remove it.
Yeah, all right, good stuff. We're going to get more from all 3 men in just a moment, but let's catch up with a winning and a very happy, I would assume, FY God, who's with Casey.
Yes, FY is here. We have Helen, who is going to be helping translate. FY, congratulations. The caster said it. You're playing on another level. This is the 3rd TI that you have dropped VP down to a lower bracket. What do you think it is about these 2 teams when they face off?
首先，恭喜获得上场比赛的胜利。解说也在说你的水平已经比普通人高上一层了。那这是连续第三年，你们把 VP 掉落败者组。你觉得这2支战队对战的时候会有什么样一个反应
？TI7我不在蓝光店吧，然后不知道当时什么情况。TI8、TI9可能是缘分到了吧，就。 可能他们运气不太好吧，反正就已经这样了。
Well, at TI7, I was on LGD, and for TI8 and TI9, I think that it was meant to be, and they're a little bit unlucky, so it just turned out that way.
You came in so strong, straight out of group stage, number 1. How much of this is related to coming off of TI8 coming so close in the grand finals? How much of this is trying to turn around and prove that you really are the best after TI8?
小组赛你们很强劲，小组第一，你觉得跟去年的成绩第2名有没有任何关系？对，去年的成绩对你来说有没有影响？
去年肯定有影响吧，因为会让我们更加认真对待这个 TI9，就是疼痛总会让人成长嘛。
Well, definitely affected me a lot. The results from last year motivated me more and made my entire team more serious about TI9. Failures always make you grow.
And can you talk, before we send it back to them, can you talk a little bit about how meaningful it is for you as a team to be playing in front of the audience here in China for a TI?
对你来说，在中国打 TI 有没有什么特殊意义？有多重要？
对我来说，我的家人朋友可以在现场观看，肯定是在国外一个人会好很多吧。
Well, in China, all my family and friends are here to support me. It's definitely better than being alone in the West.
Thank you so much, and congratulations, FY. We look forward to chatting with you more throughout TI. And Helen, thank you. We really appreciate it. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. Yes, Helen with Casey and FY from PSG LGD successfully winning the opening game. Just final thoughts from you guys, really, on a fairly straightforward series, Trent.
I liked how calm and cool FY was during that. Because we're fortunate, we have the duality here where we're watching our preview of the English, but we also get to see the Chinese production up there. And Ame's being interviewed. He's bouncing around up there. He's laughing. The crowd is laughing, and he just couldn't even contain himself. Meanwhile, FY's just like, yeah. that was good.
He's chilled, dude.
I've done this for 3 years in a row. It feels really nice.
I'm going to say one thing only.
Yeah.
I want to change my prediction who's going to win this
You can't
one.
do
I mean,
that.
we have a technology. We have Valve here. I think we can.
You can't do
it.
that. Gabe's locked it down. You can't change your fantasy stuff now.
Just once. I mean, I would go with LGD.
Oh, someone's got them.
I'm actually going to say I kind of agree. They looked really freaking good here, and anybody that goes against them, you got to prep really well because they're coming.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, gents. Quick reminder for you as well, wherever you are in the world, we'd love you to interact with us via all the usual social media channels. Make sure you're following all the official channels as well. Twitter @Dota2, over on Facebook, of course, as well, and on Instagram. Also now @Dota2, not the TI. Don't do that. Just do the Instagram stuff. Some great content on all 3 channels for social media. And we'd love to hear your comments as well. We need to switch things up, actually, here on the panel. So while we do that, we need a guided tour of Shanghai. And who better to do that than Casey and Slacks?
So we'll try it where I say something, Jake says something, and then...
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
All right. Okay, 3, 2... Hello and welcome to Shanghai.
Yeah, we've got the world's best tour guides, Dove and Eve, for us.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you here. You probably think this is Shanghai.
Isn't it?
But we have so much more to offer. We're going to show you the entire Shanghai.
Yeah, let's go back in time.
Okay. Yes.
We can just do that? Cool.
Xinchang Town is one of the older existing settlements in Shanghai. It used to be a salt field for producing salt, but because the coastline changed, people started to gather and trade here instead, forming the town. Many of the houses here are hundreds of years old, passed down from generation to generation.
Wow. So, guys, probably we're going to show you some local food.
Oh, what's this?
So this is sticky tofu.
Sticky tofu?
Yeah.
你好。你好吗？我的中文不好。Yeah. That?
Oh, thanks. Is it good? I hope it's good.
Hot. So hot. But very good though.
What's this all about? What is this? What does this mean?
These 2 are called 对联.
对联.
对联. Yeah.
对联.
It's like something we put on during the New Year, the Chinese New Year, wish you good fortune.
It's like painted on there. I don't think this is store-bought.
They're handwriting it.
Yeah, and they're using the traditional Chinese characters.
Like single word means a long line.
I'm gonna pick some of these up. Put it on my house.
Chenghuang Temple, also known as the City God Temple, was built about 600 years ago. The temple is located in the old city, which is still close to the heart of the city today. Here you can see the old along with the new, the past and the future.
So we're literally seeing the style from 600 years ago, but with like a Starbucks coffee on it.
I love it. It's a cool metaphor, kind of like, you know, the old and the new coming together. That, to me, is a lot of, like, kind of Chinese culture right now.
Here we are. This is the corner of the temple.
So this is the real old stuff. Everything else is like modeled after it.
Yeah, if you can touch the top, that is 600 years ago.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Can you touch it?
I don't think I can touch it. I think I can probably throw you up there.
Shanghai has been the portal to the world for China since the 1800s and remains to be one of the most modern cities of China.
What do you think is the significance to having TI here for the first time ever?
Well, first, like, it's a super nice thing for all the Dota fans in China. We've been waiting for so long, you know.
Most excited to see how many different people come in for this one. You know, there's always like this roaring Chinese crowd.
Here, like, the city runs very fast.
Yes.
You know?
Very fast paced.
Yeah, have you seen like Shanghai at night?
No. It's all lit up, it's beautiful.
Yeah, behind us, there's where we were just now, the financial center.
Wow, this is so awesome.
You see it in pictures, but being here live, It's something else entirely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, are you ready? Make it official.
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Shanghai.
3、2、1，欢迎大家来上海。
Good times on that tour, having some fun out there in Shanghai. But I found somebody who wasn't having some good times. My friend, I saw you from afar. You look very sad, head in your hands. What's your name, sir?
My name is Sergey.
Sergey, why are you so sad? Sergey, I know why you're sad. It's VP, brother. What happened out there? What was your interpretation of that last series?
Well, I believe it was just bad luck. Bad luck? Very bad luck.
Where are you from, Sergey?
From Russia.
You came all the way here to support just VP?
No, not of course. I'm a big fan of beautiful Dota and Navi Dota.
There it is, always Navi. Anyway, so if you could have a chance to say anything to the boys from VP who just got brutally 2-0'd in that last series, what would you say? Words of encouragement.
Every fan of Virtus Pro knows that these guys shows us beautiful Dota for over than 3 years, and we all believe they can do their best and go to the very end of this tournament, no matter what mistakes happened before.
So is this the TI that VP's finally going to win?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes! All right. Well, that's one prediction from our VP fan right here. Gentlemen on panel, after that, do you think that they have a chance? I'd like to know.
All right. Well, I like the fandom. Thank you very much, Jake. And yeah, lots of big fans out there from all over the world. Not only fans from all over the world, but we have people on the panel from all over the world. We have Cap, Fogged, and the one and only Dondo, aka Dendy. How you doing?
Hello, guys. I'm great.
Do you know I am beside myself. I'm so excited that we finally get you on our panel.
Oh.
You're on Russian panels and working with the other guys, and we never get you on our panel.
I'm happy. That's my first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're happy too. And we have 2 former Na'Vi players now in the middle.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Look at that.
See?
Look at that.
We got a nice
bit of old Na'Vi bonding going on the panel. How you doing?
I'm good. We also got to play a game too. We also played it. We played it in the house together, and we absolutely stomped Gunner.
Ooh,
it was great.
That's not true. I got help from this guy.
Really?
No,
I knew what to do. I just played around.
Do you know, I watched him last night playing some Ogre. He was pretty good. He was pretty good last night.
Not the next 2 games.
See, the
Not
thing
the
is,
next 2 games. You were bullying that game I watched.
About these talent in-houses, all it takes is just identify the best player and just ruin his game as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that's what
Was that
Fog
Gunner?
needs when
Was
he
it Gunner
says,
last night?
I knew what to do, which was he just dumpstered Gunner as much as possible by roaming into the mid lane.
Sorry, Gunner.
Yeah. How you doing, Cap?
I'm doing
great.
great.
To have you back on the panels as always.
Yeah,
Love working with you.
I'm excited to be here. I think it's always nice to be able to have like former pro players here, and I've always been jealous of the Chinese panels and the Russian panels. They always get
got
these
the
like
superstars, right?
these like former TI winners
exactly.
and such, people like Dendy. So it's super exciting to have him here.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I'm happy.
I mean, we're just trying to. Here's the thing: we're trying to butter you up as much as possible, so you will come be on our panels
come be on that panel
more
more.
often.
Yeah.
Instead of the Russian panels.
Because secretly, which is the best panel? You can tell. No one's watching right now. You can just tell us, right? It's English panel, right?
English panel.
Yeah.
We'll take that. We'll take that.
It's fine. It's all good. Did you get much chance to watch much of the group stage?
Yeah, I watched some games.
Yeah. What did you think? Was it the best group stage you've seen?
It was really tough. Yeah. Every team had a chance. It was close. Close on Group B, close on Group A. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
My boys Navi, for example, we went almost to winner bracket, but last days we were unsuccessful.
One game away, and they could have been in the upper bracket. So yeah, really close.
But it's not only for them. Like there's a lot of teams who were 1 game away.
Yeah. A lot of pressure on Magical because he's in your shoes. He's in the team. He's Dendy now effectively in that team. That's a lot of pressure. But he's doing really well.
He's amazing. He's doing amazingly. He have more skills in group stage or something like that.
Yeah, he's been doing very, very well indeed. What did you guys make of the group stage? Enjoy it?
I was really I didn't get to actually cast. I don't think I don't think I had to do any of the Na'Vi games, but I was really impressed anyway because they were picking their comfort heroes and not really caring. They were just like, nobody's picking Razor. We're picking magical comfort heroes that he likes to play and stuff like that. So it was like nice to see that they're playing their own strategies and still being, I mean, very unexpectedly dominant.
Yeah, and Crystallize, I want to mention him as well, just while we're talking about Na'Vi. It's weird talking about him as a rookie at TI, because you kind of think, oh, he's been around forever. He's been around for like 3 years or something, and yet here he's having a great performance as well.
He's been one of those players that you just assume you're going to build a roster around. And I think that for me, I got lucky. I got to cast some Na'Vi games during the group stage. And every year, it's like, what teams am I going to fall in love with and their play style? And for me, it was Infamous and Na'Vi, actually. Na'Vi just really impressed me with both those teams. They did something that is always special to see at the International. These teams are so good that these players, you know, especially more amateur players, don't have as much experience when they come to the table and they're like, I can outplay that guy. That guy who's been to 5 TIs, you can outplay him, and that's exactly what they did. They came in with that kind of just fervor and aggression. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Then you've been playing a bit of Dota, obviously in Asia this year, SEA, so you've kind of you've seen a different region. How's that been?
It was really fun. Yeah. Actually, yeah. The C region is so much action always
crazy,
going
right?
on. It's super competitive, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, it's insanely competitive. So I know those teams a little bit. Now.
Yeah, because we're gonna have TNC in the next game, obviously. So I'm sure you've got plenty of inside info that we can glean from.
Did you feel like you learned something from your experiences, whether it was inside of Dota or maybe just outside of Dota, just exposing
definitely.
yourself to different cultures?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We stayed in a house for 2 months, like 1 month and one month again. So I learned how things going up there, and it's a different play style also, like compared to CIS.
Is it faster or slower?
It's actually faster.
Yeah.
I always
Faster
feel
than CIS?
Dota is always go,
Holy
go,
crap.
go, yeah, jump in, kill people, destroy. But now it's other way around. CS Dota now is much more chill, it's much more defensive, protective, and CS Dota is much more active in how I see it, at least.
That must have been really like, you never lived anywhere else besides in your home country, right? So that was the first time living somewhere else. That must have been pretty cool. Pretty
It
different.
was interesting experience. Different food, air, weather. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, nice. That's good stuff. We're going to get the teams out very shortly, but just quickly, these two teams, how do you rate them very quickly in terms of the way that they had their group stages?
Oh, man. I think I probably expected Vici to be a little bit more dominant, even though they already were super dominant, but TNC definitely came out swinging. But they also were a little bit back to their TNC style, where one game I would be like, oh my God, TNC looks like the best team at the tournament, and the next game they're almost losing 2-0 to Chaos. So stuff like that was still happening for TNC. Well, I think Vici, they still have shown their amazing caliber throughout the whole year, right? Like they've been extremely dominant with all of their players, and it's shown. It's still been shown.
You expect to see a bit more from Vici?
Yes, absolutely. I expected them to run a similar route to Team Secret, which is just kind of like dominate the groups, easily be first and everything. And they didn't do that. They seemed to like kind of lose control. The same kind of happened with TNC, as Fogg was saying. Like, you know, I watched some of their games and I felt like, as he said, they're like, oh, this is a fantastic team. And other times I'm just like, this is a bit undisciplined. You're kind of throwing away some of your games. And that's concerning to me, right? Because I imagine the group stage going into playoffs, like the difference in the stress levels, it's got to be high.
Okay, time to introduce you to our two teams for our second series. TNC Predator into the Mercedes-Benz Arena for the first time on the main stage, and they find themselves in the upper bracket after a good, solid group stage performance from them, backed by a man who is a TI winner. That's right, their coach, no less, is a TI winner. If anyone can help them calm down and deliver, it is the man Heen. They've got the ability. We've known that for years, but now have they finally got the strategy? We're going to find out as they go head-to-head with a team who have been in imperious form throughout the season. It is Vici. 2017-18 was an unprecedented year for Vici Gaming. The team with the silver badge had 7 second places, but this year things have changed. The silver has changed to gold as they claim major championships. They come into TI as probably the best informed team in the world here on Chinese soil to have a shot at the Aegis. They are Vici Gaming and they go head to head with TNC. Gents, I feel like this is the perfect matchup in many ways for excitement. As Dendy's already said, it's that TNC, that kind of SEA run at you, fast-paced kind of Dota, backed by a guy who's got TI winning credentials and strategy cap as well, against Vici, who've probably been the best team.
Oh, absolutely. I think Vici Gaming, they are my favorites for this tournament. Even after their group stage, I'm hoping that they solidify things a little bit more going into the playoffs. TNC, though, something special about that team, man. They always seem to make those underdog matches work for them. They always seem to perform best when they are the ones being doubted, or perhaps in this case, hated.
Yeah, I mean, Dendy, that's the point, isn't it? Whenever you looked at the lower brackets in other TIs and you saw TNC or Fnatic or Messi, you're like, oh no, I don't want to play them. They're horrible. I don't like playing those kind of teams in the lower because they're dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Now they're in the upper bracket. Can they be as dangerous?
They are super dangerous. Actually, about C Dota, I said it's active, but TNC, where they have one of the slowest games at the tournament, I think, by stats, which is weird for C Dota, yes. But still, they're doing really well in upper bracket, and they were like top 4 on last major. They're doing an amazing job, and I'm sure we're a really strong contender here. I'm not, for me, also, Vici is super strong team, but I see that, you know, it's going to be pretty even game.
What's it like playing with a really good coach behind you? Because you've had some really good coaches in the past. They've got Heen behind them. He's been there. He's done it. He knows how to win a TI. That must be really good for them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he added a lot of some experience and insights and stuff like this.
Calm them down a little bit.
Discipline.
Discipline. That's a good word. Yeah, very good word. I mean, it makes a difference though, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I also you know, people are always talking about TNC now and they're mentioning Heen a lot, but I really have to give a lot of credit to the 2 supports because I feel like they do get left behind in the dust a lot because they have these flashy players. They have Armel, they have Kuku, they have these young rising stars and everything like that. But AU, this guy, as soon as he joined this team, I feel like they completely switched. He's been such a mental player. He works so well around the map. Same thing with Tims. We saw that unbelievable performance from him during the group stages. So
fantastic.
You can never look over their supports as well as that. So
and his story is amazing, right? Like I actually did not know because his birthday isn't online, but apparently he's 27. Like one of the easily one of the oldest players coming out of the Southeast Asian region. But add on to top of that, right? He approached TNC not to be a player, not to be their coach,
just to help
but to be their analyst. And then they were like, this guy's good. Let's make him our coach. And then from there, they're like, let's make him our captain. Let's have him play on our team. And I think he's doing fantastic work. It's just another one of those stories,
There's
right?
still hope for you, Cap.
Absolutely. That's why I'm so fired up right now, because maybe I can go back, baby. But no, it's like, it reminded me of the Seb story, you know? From, you know, washed up player, just a smart guy about Dota, but can't really click the buttons, and goes into the game and shows that he can actually bring his team to victories.
Let's turn our attention to Vici. I've said they're the best team of the year. This half of the season, if you like, if we're talking 18, 19, since January, they've been the best team.
There's like a lot of things to talk about with Vici, right? I think you could hear the roar from the crowd when Yang gets announced, of course. Like you look around, people are wearing Yang hats and everything too. He's super popular. Talked to a lot of the pro players, and some of them are saying, this guy might be the best player in the world at the moment, stuff like that. I also want to focus, I also do like to focus on supports, but DY is actually my most improved player of the entire year across any team.
Back to the start of the season.
He was, I mean, we used to,
it was
not like
horrible.
Like me and Trent would be watching, and he would die.
Exactly,
all the
let's
games.
just be absolutely plainly honest about it, because I think we can be. He was horrible at the start of the season.
His 5 position went from pretty much being like one of the worst, if not the worst, to being like top 2 of 5 positions right now in the international. So he is definitely one of the most improved players for me.
What about Ori's improvement as well, right? Like, you have 2 players on that team that have just done tremendous things over the last year. For Ori, I would say it's more like a year and a half, 2 years. But that's like just a really impressive story, and it goes to show that maybe some of the mentality that Ori and Paparazzi have as kind of the core elements of the team, they bring something different, right? This is a team that I see yelling at each other nonstop, but they've never, for the season, they've stayed true to what their roster is, and they've had great performances. So maybe something about that works.
Yeah, and Dedi Paparazzi, he's been around for a long time now. He's such a great 1v1 player.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Huge player in China, obviously very popular here as well.
He can play mid, he can play carry.
Right.
He's a perfect teammate.
Yeah, and now he's got great teammates around him, though. Finally, he's in a team where he's not maybe like Yang's taken a lot of popularity right here in China. Ori obviously very big out here. So now he's surrounded by great players.
You should give credit to everyone, because when I watch Vichy games, I'm amazed every time. There's always a lot to learn about them. We move as a unit, we work as a unit, we do things together in perfect fashion. It's just an amazing team.
And they're less boring than they were. I want to be honest about this. They weren't my favourite team 12 months ago. They were a bit, I use the word methodical.
Paul doesn't like when people control the map.
No, it's not that at all. It's just, it's like, move in. Let's go in, guys. Oh, we've got a tower, back off. Oh, we've got one racks, back off. We've got the other racks, back off. Get a shrine. Like, come on, finish the game. And they were a bit, they were too methodical, right? But they seem to have, they've taken the best bits of that, added some aggression, added some fire, and now they're a great team to watch.
Wouldn't you want to be like that too if you made a mistake and you go back to the room and you're like, oh God, ROTK, what's he gonna do to me? Oh no! So come on, you gotta understand their discipline.
That's true. Yeah, if you got ROTK back there, I don't want to mess up at all.
Yeah, and to think about it, right? Maybe that's exactly because you now have players, as opposed to last year where you just had Paparazzi and Ori. Now you've got like somebody like Yang who is just as willing to yell back, right? And I think that kind of aggression that he has in his personality can translate through to the game.
What's that like, Dendi, playing in a team? Because I always imagine you're a passionate man, you're emotional, but have you had teammates that yell at you and you just feel like, shut up?
It depends. Always different teams, but maybe if I would play with ROTK, or ROTK would be my coach, he would probably give me yelling lessons.
Yes.
And when I would yell at people all the time.
And then we'd have angry Dendi.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
I can't imagine. No, that's not possible.
It's very good when you're angry at enemies. Of course, it's.
Of course, yeah. But what about in team though? How do you cope if someone's really loud in a team?
I think.
Is it okay?
You can be loud, but when you should still stay friendly and friends, and no one should take it personal or anything like that. Then it's okay. Yeah.
Has that happened to you though? Have you been in a team where someone's really loud and you just want them to not be loud anymore?
Well, we can go loud. Of course, it happened many times, but when we would be happy loud,
Okay.
Scream something not so good, but in a happy way.
Okay.
Oh, I remember watching TI9. I remember watching Navi and just yelling at their opponents. That was actually such that was like the first big like psychological play.
It was so much fun. We had like mirror right in front of us, and enemy right in front of us.
That's what I was thinking.
You guys got the kill, and you guys would all stand up, and then you would sit down real quick.
We would hit table, we would shake everything up.
So you were banging the table because it vibrated in the other room, right?
Yes. If we do a kill, we hit table.
Denny and the boys were the first OG. They were the first chat wheelers.
Yeah.
Before it existed.
Yeah. Before chat was even had. What do you spam now? What do you spam?
What do you spam now? Резать.
I learned what it means now.
Cut, or slash.
Oh, okay.
It's when Sven coming up with big gun, ultimated.
He taught me that one the other day.
Did he?
Yeah, we were spamming a couple of times. Do you know what that means? And I'm like, oh, well, now I do.
Perfect.
It's a good one.
You learn something every day in Dota.
You do.
As well as life. You learn in Dota as well. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Which way do you think this goes?
VG Gaming.
Yeah?
I have no problem jumping into the spot. I think TNC is going to be a strong lower bracket team. I have them going a bit farther through that lower bracket, but VG Gaming, for here, I think they're just too big of a beast. Again, the biggest problem for me is the fact that TNC, like some of the breaks that I saw, some of the mistakes that they made in the group stage, I'm concerned that's going to continue in the playoffs when things are just, there's even more pressure on them.
That's the problem, Dendy, isn't it? Inconsistency for TNC, because they were a bit up and down in the group stage. And when they look good, they look amazing.
In group
right?
stage, we actually took at least one game from every team except Mineski, which probably know them really well.
SEA.
Yeah.
SEA derbies, they always end up weird. Like.
But for me, I don't know. Those are really, really close games. I expected it to be like 50-50, but the edge would be on Vichy side just because they're crowd favorites, and obviously a lot of cheering will be.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this room. Obviously, all Vichy biased, I'm sure.
I'd have to also, though.
I'm going to ask it slightly different to you,
Okay.
Fog. What did TNC have to do in this series in order to overcome Vichy?
I think the one thing is that if they have like a certain strategy that's hasn't really been revealed too much for themselves, that's probably one of the best ones, because I think the TNC is going to do a lot of homework. They have Heen. He's going to come back and he's going to be like, all right, let's bring out the book. Let's see what Vichy's done throughout the whole year at each thing. So I think you have to bring something new to the table, because I do think that TNC some of the times they have been a little bit. It's weird calling TNC a little bit predictable, but with their drafts, you can understand what they're looking for and what they're trying to do. So I feel like they have to bring something extra to the table, at least in that essence, versus Heen.
Okay.
And when it comes to play inside the game, I think a lot of that is going to come around the Tims, which is where some of the slower elements that Denny was talking about, right? These 4 positions that they bring out, like the Earthshaker and Enigma, these like really big team fighters that can beat them, that can beat Vichy Gaming in the late game. Like, he's going to have to come through clutch, because I think there's going to be a large chance of Vichy Gaming take control at first 20.
Okay, so that's what they've got. Dendy, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I kind of would
give
like
them a
to see
chance?
Teams Mirana. Yeah.
Tim's Mirana, yeah.
Okay.
Tim Shaker, Tim Spirit.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 that I'm looking for.
I was going to actually talk about Mirana a little bit. It's quite a bit of support Mirana now.
Yeah,
Last game
this
as well.
hero
Yeah.
actually have really high win rate at this tournament. Yeah, it's doing really well. It's randomly came here after last small meta patch, and here it is. We see a lot of Mirana, and it's very successful.
Yeah.
I think it's like the 4th most picked with like 60% win rate or something.
Yeah.
It's like crazy that any hero that could be that popular also hold that kind of win rate.
It's flexible, right? I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen. Is like when you open it, it's like you can still run it mid. You can still run it even like. I didn't feel like I saw. I don't think I saw a carry one, but we saw mid and we saw 4 position at least picked up.
Yeah,
so.
and I think Moon is the. Whenever you see Moon playing, you're thinking, oh well, Mirana might come out in this particular game because he's so good on it. So yeah, it can be a bit of a flex pick, I guess. Vichy, on the other hand, what have they got to be careful about in this game? What would they not do for TNC?
I think the biggest thing is making sure that they win their lanes against TNC. Making sure, for example, that if they sacrifice Cuckoo, really shut down Cuckoo's game. Right? Especially if they give him like the Cuckoo Bat Rider that he's so good with. Like, make sure he doesn't actually have the game punish the fact that they're sacrificing a little bit and trying to secure their safe lane more. I've seen TNC do that a couple times, and somehow Cuckoo walks away. Like, he's half the time he's solo, but he still walks away like he's been dual laning the entire time. He walks away with that kind of farm. So make sure he doesn't have a good game.
Cuckoo's the one he's definitely the one I'm concerned about that I think Vichy's going to address. Before, when I was saying, I messed up saying it before, I was saying that Heen was going to do homework. None of you guys corrected me. I was waiting for you guys to make fun of me, but I meant ROTK. It's okay.
It's fine. We've got your back, buddy.
I caught myself after I said it all, but yeah, I think that's the one that I'm worried about, is that Cuckoo, I think I've only really been seeing him play like his tanking and his Bat Rider.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he needs to find some more variety.
Couple more in there. Dendy, what do they have to be careful of?
I don't know. I think Vichy should just play their own game and
not worry about TNC at all?
Not worry about anything but their own game. Just focus on what we want to do and keep going.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, gents. That's it from our panel, but we need to bring in some experts. So let's head over to our expert panel for the draft.
Vichy Gaming versus TNC Predator. Game 1.
I thought we were bringing in some experts, but Gunnar, I hear you got stomped in an in-house. What's going on here, man?
You know, Fog, he tried his best and he ruined my game. Nothing you can do. I was also against a TI winner, Dendy.
True.
I'm not a TI winner.
But you two are playing in the same region now. Grant, this man exported himself out of North America. Did you disavow him?
I did not. Gun Daddy here. He's still cool. He's repping us over there, and I appreciate that. Especially, TNC on the line. We'll get the inside scoop now.
Yeah. Got the C region
a
info.
spy. Is that what you're saying?
Indeed.
Okay. Deep cover Gunner. I like it. We're here. It's the second series now of the main event.
Already.
Quick. And it was a fast first game as well. Virtus Pro just looked completely lost. And what a way for LGD to solidify the Chinese crowd behind them, getting a rapier. Now it's up to Vici Gaming to see if they can follow up a performance like that.
Yeah, and I think it should be a pretty good series. I'm surprised the panel actually took Vici Gaming right there, but like pretty convincingly. I thought TNC actually looked reasonably well in the group stage, and they talked about it on the panel, you know, as see the draft, that it's these heroes, these team fighters, they have the longest games in some of the tournaments, and that's because these Earthshakers and Enigmas they're picking, like they don't mind scaling into the late game with heroes like that, and I think we'll see a lot here.
Yeah, a lot of the team focuses around Tim's, I think, in the early game to mid game. He picks these like they said, Earthshaker and Earth Spirit.
Yeah.
He's always gets these like Blink Daggers and these big initiations, so I'm looking for TNC to draft some big hero for him.
Yeah, and I like the Chen ban. AU, he has been he's one of the few people keep challenging him. They're like, you know what? Let's give him the Chen, and then all of a sudden you gave him a Chen, maybe you give him an Alchemist, and you're like, oh, what have we done? So.
Yeah, it spirals out of control quickly whenever you give these teams their comfort heroes, and also when you give teams heroes that have just been very irritating. Enchantress has been one of the most hated heroes in pubs. Yes. How do you kill this hero? But I guess maybe it's magic damage, Gunner?
Yeah, so Enchantress is really not good because she has a lot of healing in the early game with her Nature's Attendance.
Correct.
So when you pick an AA, you stop her healing. It's a lot of like heroes like Juggernaut or Lifesteer with built-in magic immunity are really good at piercing through or untouchable. So maybe they pick something like a Juggernaut here if they want to pick their carry early. That hero's kind of weaker, I think. Gyro's another hero that's good against her. His Rocket Barrage goes through untouchable in the early game.
Yep. Sand King, kind of the same thing. It's like all magic damage. You stun in, you Sandstorm, you cast an ultimate, you got to just blow her up right there. And I like I want to say I like two of the bans on the side of TNC. I was going to bring them up. It's Ogre as well as the Tide Hunter, and those heroes, just Vici Gaming, they will always take it. They're one of the few who's only like really running it in the 3 position, and just get rid of it. That hero is such a nuisance.
Yeah, we saw the Tide Hunter bring LGD great success in Game 1. Clearly, it's a regional favorite, but we're seeing a lot of different stuff coming out. Magnus being picked up now by Vici Gaming.
A lot of the Chinese teams like Magnus more than other regions. Like I think LGD picks it a lot for FY. They play a little slower than the other regions, I think, but they get like the slowness helps them with the Empower. Their carry always is going to be top of the net worth. It gives them team fights in the mid and the late game, so I like it. It also lets them contest TNC. If Tim's goes a more greedy hero like Earthshaker as a 4, the Magnus is also going to get a blink, and his carry is going to get farm. So
I'm curious, because don't they usually play Yang on the Mag? They're one of the few teams who really likes playing it on the 3. And you have an Enchant, like, I'll be honest, I love both these heroes as a 3 way more than, like, say, Enchant as a 5 or the Mag as a 4, but I'm curious, because Enchant, she's a lane stomper. You know what she's going to do. Meanwhile, Magnus is a little bit different. Maybe you get a skewer on the tower, but you're just trying to survive. So if they do play it as a 4, you know, here you go. You're the buff bot.
Trying to survive, and then, yeah, just trying to get levels. So what is going to be the pairing for this Magnus? You want to find someone to empower. You want to make sure you enable your carry to accelerate very quickly, which is why Vici Gaming ban out the Alchemist. They want to make sure that no other carry can keep the pace of a hero that has empower.
Yeah.
A nice thing about this Magnus pick and the Enchantress is that Enchantress can solo her lane really early on.
Okay.
And a lot of teams like to run Magnus in a tri-lane.
Assuming that it's going to be a 3
Assuming it's a 3 Enchantress and a 4 Magnus.
Which I hope it is.
Yeah, the Magnus can get early boots. He can skewer into tower with another stun from the 5. So a tri-lane with Magnus is a lot stronger than doing dual lanes, I think. So it's kind of a really nice combo that they already have.
Yeah. You're already scared, though, right? You have an Enchant and a Mag, and then you look on the other side. You just have this AoE burst damage. Like, just in 2 heroes is AA, so you definitely need someone survivable again. I mean, how do you feel about Jug this tournament?
Jug's been a really weak hero. They've nerfed, I think, really small. The past couple, like 3-4 patches, they removed his early game agility. They removed 5 movement speed, I think. They removed 10 or 15 damage from each level of blade mail per second.
How are you going to talk bad about one of Hector's favorite carries? It's Wraith King and Juggernaut all day, every day, and he's been cleaning up on those 2 heroes.
It is, and I feel you do need, honestly, a hero like that. Like Jug, obviously, with the spin, the magic immunity, and then Wraith King, right? You commit onto him, at least you have a full other life. It's so hard to take a hero like that down, and maybe they will on Vici look to do a hero like that.
If they actually ban out their own Sven, which was a potential for Vici Gaming, again, you're looking for combinations with this Magnus and power to speed up and accelerate the farm of a carry.
I could see a hero like Troll Warlord right now.
Okay.
For the side of Vici Gaming, it matches well with the Magnus, and as well, you don't die to the AA Blast.
Right. If you're in Battle Trance, you won't shatter.
Yeah, so it's a little like Shallow Grave. It gives you an extra,
little bit of time.
Yeah.
You never know. Just survive, get a kill. I mean, we saw Ortiz rampage with just 1 extra second. Like, honestly, something like that against an AA is that important. And I'm really surprised they ban out those two heroes. It says to me, as you brought up Tsunami, Alk and Sven both are two of those heroes that do speed the game up quicker, and obviously they don't want that. You want this mag, empower, and do your own thing. Oh, a Tiny.
Tiny's been one of TNC Predator's favorite heroes of the group stage, and overall just a really solid hero that we've seen any team pick. It's just, I see an immense amount of magic burst damage. I would be terrified if I'm this Enchantress right now.
The Tiny Axe is really good against Ench in the mid game as well. You don't get attack speed slowed, a lot of physical. Ench does have low armor, but you can't hit her normally. But having the ability to do physical damage without having to hit her is really good, I think.
So if this was like a team secret draft on the side of TNC, I would have no idea which hero is playing well. We could see like mid AA, we could see 3-position Sand King. Based on TNC, which way are you leaning towards the AA Sand King and Tiny being played?
I think AA 5, Tiny 4, Sand King 3.
Okay.
They don't play mid Tiny, do they?
I don't believe they do. I mean, it was like Mineski, right? Moon's like the biggest one, but I don't think TNC really plays that much.
I know OG plays it. Topson played mid Tiny, I think, once or twice in the group stage.
Do you know what they played it against? Sorry, I'm trying to think like if it's just like a matchup kind of thing, or.
I think Topson likes it here. I believe he's like gold rank too, so he plays it.
He's like, just give me it. I just want to burst. I want to set that record. I want to get a lot of kills. Yeah. And I was curious, what do you think about that DP last ban? Why do you ban a DP against a team who has mag? Like, does that say anything about what you're going to pick for middle?
It could kind of push the Tiny more towards mid, because since he has really high health, the DP can siphon him in the mid game and kind of control him, but I think it's more for the Lifestealer.
Okay.
DP matches really well against Lifestealer all stages of the game. Late game, at 25, you'll get a haste talent, so Lifestealer can never catch you. But even before that, the spirits go through rage. You can kind of kite the Lifestealer, make a fight a little slower, get through rage, silence him, and kind of burst him.
And even beyond pushing Tiny towards or out of mid, you also need push on towers. Death Prophet would have been a great hero, but Vici Gaming kind of lacking in the ability to take structures right now because TNC Predator have amazing wave clear. How are you going to ever make your way to a tower and actually start dealing damage to it?
And even just like the group up factor, right? Like if you look, cool, they have a mag, reverse polarity's fun, but then you have a Witch Doctor and Enchant. It's not like, yo, we're ready to just go and team fight you.
But they'll be able to heal, right? Oh,
they will.
wait.
There's
an Ancient Apparition on the other side. What are you going to do?
Why did they take that Witch Doctor? I'm thinking now. Obviously, they enjoy the hero, nice multi-stun. If they do like a tri-lane, Witch Doctor level 1 is pretty good.
True.
And there it is, the Jug. Okay. I think you had to do it versus the A, and you have the Empower, and you're going to be able to ramp up extremely quick.
Yeah, they banned I think Sven could have been a good pick if they didn't ban it.
Yeah.
It matches fairly well against the Lifestealer, and that's one of the few heroes right now that wants to go BKB early and is melee. A lot of the ones are like Gyrocopter goes BKB early this patch, but they need a melee hero for this Empower. So I like the Jug.
Just a hero that's going to have to be very, very careful about how he uses that spell immunity. Both carries have that sort of option.
That's what Tiny does, right? Tiny just makes you, it really does, once he gets that blink dagger, it just makes you think, like, is he behind me? Where is he at? You always have to know where he is on the map.
I got a question, Connor. Why do you think that the Shadowblade Tiny build died out so heavily? Is it because this Aghanims has kind of taken precedence, or just Blink Dagger's too good? Because Tiny's a hero that's been competitive for an extremely long time, so many builds, and right now we're seeing like a very, very pop-in, do a bunch of damage, very flashy Tinys.
Shadowblade in general has gotten a lot less popular. A lot of teams are playing a lot more fast, a lot more together. And the Shadowblade playstyle was like the Slark's Shadowblade playstyle, where he would Shadowblade in, he'd find this Crystal Maiden, kill a Crystal Maiden, and then walk away as well.
The Assassins.
Yeah, so a lot of Dota, there's no more Assassins. The Assassins are more, in a team fight, you jump the backline. You don't find a solo hero anymore. That's kind of, a lot of teams have improved, I think, over the past couple years. So I think Shadowblade kind of, as well, people are playing more detection, more dusks, even gems for no invis to just deward.
That's true.
So
I was just surprised that whenever Sentry Wards got limited, I thought that, oh, maybe this makes invis heroes a little bit better, but it didn't seem to be the case. And especially since TNC have a Lifestealer on their team, you want to make as many Blink vehicles as possible, be it either the Sand King or the Tiny.
They banned Kunkka, that gives them, it's more team fight. I think they're banning a lot of team fight right now.
I mean, they need it. Like, they need somebody to group up. Someone who can, like, rotate now. None of these heroes rotate. Enchantress wants to sit in the lane. Mag wants to empower the Jug. Witch Doctor, I mean, it's a Witch Doctor. Like, you're going to be lucky to get boots at 5 minutes kind of thing. They need someone who can move around the map, and Kunkka's the best one from the mid line.
I really like the last 3 bans from TNC. The Kunkka, Death Prophet, Ember, all of them match really well with the Magnus, and then it gives them this early game team fight. All 3 of them. So I think TNC has really nice bans against Vici.
I'm just baffled at the Vici picks. They've picked 3 heroes who really
I
like
am
to
too.
heal.
Yeah.
Juggernaut with the healing ward.
Oh.
Witch Doctor and Enchantress, and now they're going to wrap it up with what is most likely a mid Lina for Vici Gaming.
I like it. I mean, you should be able to dominate lane. Obviously, TNC has the last pick. We'll see what they want to take, but you have someone who can move around. You have someone who can actually burst down. Maybe the lifesteal, you know, you hit a stun from Fog, you get the Laguna off. You do have the ability to now kill that lifestealer, which is nice.
I could see them.
You're tanky.
Yeah, I could see TNC picking a 4 here and putting Tiny mid.
Okay.
It matches up well against the Lina. You have a lot of HP, so her nukes don't do a high percentage of your health.
Yeah.
And you can kill her the whole mid game. Once you get your blink, she dies. She doesn't get HP that much. I think they could pick Rubik. I think could be a decent hero. And maybe Earthshaker. Both of them are on ban. Tim's really likes those type of playmakers in the mid and late game.
Is there a way Alina just destroys like a Tiny in the laning phase? Like you get the stun, you get a couple of the creeps, and you just out harass them, or no? Eventually Tiny will just catch up.
Yeah, because I would assume that Lina having such high range and Tiny having to go back to get a tree every like 5 seconds would make it pretty Lina favored. But
a lot of the time you get boots really early on Tiny, even some mid start boots as a mid laner, which is kind of unheard of for other heroes. They get into range, they just toss combo. The Lina will lose like 60% of her health. A combo for Tiny from the Lina, he'll lose like 15, 20, 30, maybe max, and he can just salve up.
That's so.
It's more like the mid game, I think. A lot of Vici Gaming's heroes are squishy, and if he goes mid, I think this Ags build, this Blink Echo Ags,
so fun,
is really nice.
Yeah. And it is the Queen of Pain.
They're going to go traditional. It's Queen of Pain versus Lina in the mid lane. Really curious to see how this one's going to shape up, but I'm going to give it to someone who will know a little bit better. It's the Banana, it's the Slamma, it's the Jamma, it's BSJ.
This game, I think we have a classic hold the fort for Vici. They have Empower, and the only problem I have with an Empower lineup is if you lose too many objectives so that you don't have enough space on the map to farm. But I feel like they have a lot of kill potential and burst on TNC, but they don't have the best tower taking potential after they get those kills. So I feel like they're going to have to get too many kills on TNC in order to close off the map for Vici. So I'm going to have to favor the Empower lineup. But if TNC is able to apply that aggression and turn those snowballing kills into more objectives, I think they'll have a great chance of taking this. I'm going to give it over to Toby Wan and Cinderin. Take it away.
You know, it's a beautiful time when BSJ is sitting there saying, you know what, TNC's got to be aggressive, because that's exactly what we want to see, Sind.
Yep, it is, and this game is definitely a clash of styles. Vici Gaming, toward the end of the groups, I want to say, started playing a little bit slower in some of their games, and they've taken this style into this game. And I share a lot of the reads and thoughts of the panel and BSJ here as far as what the strengths and the weaknesses of each lineup are. And my biggest concern for Vici Gaming is how do you find fights? You have your catch is Skewer and Cask.
It's almost like we have to go back to the older Magnus was like, I blink instantly RP and then Skewer back.
But he's a position 4.
He is a position 4.
It takes a while to get those items out. So yeah, it's going to be tricky, I think, for him to get these things done in the game. And when you look at TSC's lineup, it's the other way around. They have plenty of ways of starting a fight. They have a Tiny who's probably going to get a dagger. He is position 4, so also a bit slower, but Sand King is a great catch. Yep. They have the Infest into Queen of Pain that can potentially jump the backlines and get kills. But at the same time, maybe slightly playing on a timer, not too good at taking towers.
Yeah, but that's what TNC always plays like. You got to have them being aggressive. This is what it is. Just run forward. We have our combinations for kills. The timing as well doesn't also seem to be limited. Like, you don't have to wait for the Infest before you go for a kill. The draft panel was talking about this tri-lane that they could actually get away with running if you want to get up in the face of VG Gaming. If you want to try and restrict this area, the VG needs to farm up, needs to be able to control to make the most of that Empower. So,
Thank you so much. I'll let them release.
Yep.
Okay,
right.
We're good.
Out of the system, or it's just on cooldown for the moment.
There we go. So yeah, as far as TNC's game goes, because of the nature of how their lineup works, with being very kill hungry and having a lot of stuns and fighting potential in team fights, and Vici being a little more lacking in that department. A lot of the time games like these get very decided in the first 10 minutes, because if the team that has all this catch and all this aggressive potential gets rolling, and the other team can't fight back, sometimes the game they just run out of steam really quickly. Vici Gaming, we had a game with that with their mag where it started losing map control. On the other hand, if VG Gaming's laning goes well, TNC can't punish as hard as they want, and then all of a sudden you have a free farming Magnus or a Jugger with Empower, which you have to deal with. So.
Yep. So they can't let him have that space. They've got to really try and control VG Gaming. The first battle for the runes is going to be, well, probably not that much of a fight. Tims isn't really going to have a battle against VG Gaming on the bottom lane, and there will be the contest by Cuckoo, as well as AU, which Paparazzi will have nothing to do with. So again, it's just that one floater around the runes, but is it going to be a straight 2-2 trade?
Yep.
So we actually get tri-lane versus tri-lane for the moment. This is how everything always starts. How long do you actually hold this? Like if you're VG Gaming, like how fast do you pull the Magnus back?
I think they're just not... I'm not sure they're getting what they want here.
Well, they're body blocking the wave for the Radiant side, and they're letting theirs go.
Yeah, that's pretty standard nowadays, because what will happen now is this wave will push at the bottom lane. It will push into Enchantress, and she can play control on her side of the lane. Ports to just stay top and give Lifestealer a good start, and then eventually you can start making some moves. TNC
They're already
already moving around, and Sand King is one of the better. You can hide in the Sandstorm, you can buy this Quelling Blade right now, put down a sentry, eat their sentry, they can't kill you, and I think there's only one sentry in play here for VG Gaming, only one on DY, as Magnus is already left and is going top to help Yang.
Yep.
After the switcheroo.
They both were holding it, but you're right, it's moved off that bottom lane. Still wait for the time for it. Tims and Darmel trying to play against Ori. Normally it's meant to be for the Tims Tiny, always looking for the right opportunity to attack. Same about a Lifestealer. You've got so much sustain in your own lane up on that top, so you're going to be okay. Especially with the help from Ancient Apparition right behind you.
The lane gets tricky for Lifestealer when Enchantress hits 6. If she hits it early and Lifestealer doesn't have total free farm, but the free farm aspect is probably in play. It's an Ench Magnus lane. It's very weak. Magnus doesn't really contribute very much. But he needs to get experience somewhere. So he's just
Tims, he's trying to kill off DY. That's not going to work though, but almost. Good try. It's like the worst creeps as well that you can be thrown into. The Ancient Prowlers.
Yeah.